All right, we are waiting for stream confirmation right now, and I think that we are good. It's saying that I'm coming through excellent condition. Moment of truth. Here it is. Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other YouTube content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to be answering your YouTube questions. So there's a form down in the description of this video where you can get your question answered 100% free. All you have to do is you have to get your question down there before it completely fills up, because there's going to be a lot of people down there asking questions. So if you want your question answered, make sure that you go down to the description right now and go ahead and put your question down there in the form. So go ahead and do that right now. I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators. It'll help you test your thumbnails. It'll help you optimize your videos for search. It'll help you optimize your videos for discovery in general. In addition to that, TubeBuddy will also help you manage a bunch of different things on your channel as well. But you can try TubeBuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. There's a link for that down in the description as well. You can go ahead and check that out while you are down there. So if you are here on a regular basis, if you're like in here in the stream typically, you see here that I'm actually giving something a try here. I've got some new gear, some new tech, so I'm playing with that for the sake of just kind of trying to liven things up here, since we're not streaming from the studio, since D is still stuck down in Mexico. So I just want to say, D, miss you, and for everybody else that's typically here on the stream, it's going to be a little bit different today. So here's what I got set up. So I picked up this the ATEM Mini. It's pretty awesome. I got a slider, so I can do this whole thing and get the whole slider thing going on in the background. And then I have this one too, but this camera keeps going down for some reason. I think it's because it's not pulling from the USB like it normally does, and it's a Canon. You can't just leave a Canon camera open without paying the price. So because of that, I of course have to, that camera's gone for now. So if we end up, having to move over to there, then in that situation, then I'll turn that back on. But the idea with this setup is basically, as you know, I stream for quite a bit of time. And since I stream for quite a bit of time, one thing that happens over there is I sit sideways. You might not notice that during the typical streams, but I sit sideways. And if I'm sitting sideways during the stream, well, by the time the stream's over, I'm wrecked. In terms of just my back and everything, and just how it impacts me physically. So because of that, I'm like, hey, let me do this, so then maybe I can move back and forth or something like that. And I figured, hey, let's just go ahead and see how this works out. So again, if you are just joining us, I want to let you know that I'm going to be answering your YouTube questions about what it is that you're trying to do on YouTube. So if you're trying to get views, you're trying to get subscribers, if you have a question about, uploading, if you have a question about video ideas, if you have a question about, things like, how do I just stay focused on this stuff when there's just so many different things to do and many different things to learn? We're going to talk about all of that during this stream today. So if you want information like that, make sure that you stick around. But if you want your question answered, make sure that you go ahead and get it in the form right now. The form is down in the description. And again, it's 100% free. And AVE Zoid, welcome to the live stream. AVE Zoid says, hey, I want you to try to experiment. He dared me to drink water instead of drinking coffee here during the live stream, but I'll drink water too, but first, I gotta get the coffee, taken care of as well here. So I hope everybody's doing great. I just want to give some quick shout outs here before we get into the actual questions. So just really quick, I just want to say what's up, Doug Houston, hanging out in here as well. So Doug saying that I'm getting distracted by the new gear, and I was. So right before the stream, because I'm trying to problem solve a few things like the sound effects, for example. I'm trying to problem solve that, which I can do with the Stream Deck. I just didn't get it set up in time. And other things as well, like controlling Streamlabs when I'm here, because my monitors are over there, even though I have a computer here, but my Streamlabs is running off of that system because of the audio and so on. So because of that, right before the stream, I'm like, oh, that's right, Streamlabs remote. And I went to put it in, and it's just not connecting with my Streamlabs, unfortunately. So, what do you got to do? Okay. So, the fat guy, what's up, man? Nice to see you here. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Insane McLean, what is up? Nice to see you here as well. Savvy Turtle, nice to see you here in the stream as well. The Real Kiddo, what is going on? Exploring with Jay Show, hey, what is up? Nice to see you here also. All right. So, hey, what's up, Mike? Auto Detailing. Nice to see you in here too. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the first question here, so that I can make sure to, start teaching you some stuff about YouTube during this live stream. Cause I mean, it's what we're here for, right? So the very first question here is from Clashing Buddy, and Clashing Buddy does daily content. They've been making videos for a year or more on YouTube, and it's gaming content. And the goal of the channel, is to get more subscribers. And the question is, why my video is on search, I'm using nice title and tags and description and good metadata, and also while I'm using the same tags and title of a popular video, I'm not in that particular search result. Why? That's a really good question. I'm going to try something else here that might break this. Oh, all right. I think we're okay. So I'm actually going to record a video while I'm answering this also, because we're actually doing these in clips. We're starting a clips channel for this, but I'm like, hey, you know what? I might just try making some videos here while we're streaming too. Okay, so if your videos are not ranking in search, this is why. Basically, a lot of content creators think that, hey, I need to just use certain tags, or I need to just use certain stuff in my description, or I just need to have certain words or phrases in my title, or maybe even just a really good thumbnail in order for my videos to rank in search. But here's the thing. That is not the case. In order to really get your videos to rank in search, it really comes down to the people that are clicking on your videos when they show up to them in search, or wherever it is that they happen to show, where they happen to show up in YouTube. So for example, if you have all of the perfect metadata in terms of your title, description, tags, but people aren't clicking on your video, then that metadata isn't doing you any good, because people are not clicking on it when it's presented to them on YouTube, which means that you're not going to maintain rankings in a suggested area next to another video. That means you're not going to continue getting served on a homepage, and that means that you're also not going to rank in search as well. So it doesn't matter how good your tags are, as an example. What matters is how good your actual content is, and how good you are at getting people to click. Human beings, how good you are at getting those human beings to click on your video. So for example, if I were to type in how to tie a tie right now, YouTube is going to show me a nice handful of results on how to tie a tie. So what I would do in that situation is when that page loads, I would look at it and I would say, okay, these are the results that I have for how to tie a tie. And since these are the results that I have for how to tie a tie, well, I'm only going to click on one of those, or maybe I'm going to right click and I'm going to open up a few of them. Well, in that situation, the thing that's going to happen is the other ones that are there are not going to get that click. So by me clicking on one or two of those, that's going to help the click-through rate, also known as CTR here on YouTube. That's going to help the click-through rate on the videos that I clicked on, but it's going to hurt the click-through rate on the videos that I don't click on. Now, when you look for something on YouTube, you're going to see that there's typically, similar things at the top. And if you keep coming back and looking for those terms, you're going to see that there's typically the same things that are in that search area, or on the search results page. So what happens is those are the ones that people are responding to the most. And it's not just the click. The click is a part of it, but it's also what happens after they click on your video and they come in and they actually start watching your video. So for example, if I were to click on your title, I click on your title and then I come into the video. And while I'm in there on the video, I'm like, hey, this isn't actually what I expected. This isn't what I'm really looking for. So because of that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just close this one down. I'm going to go click on another one. So when that happens, then in that situation, then when I leave your video quickly because it's not what I'm expecting, but then I go click on another one and then I'm like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And then I end up watching that video for a longer period of time. And I actually give that video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it so far. But I give that video a thumbs up. And let's say that I even leave a comment on that video as well. Well, what's going to happen is YouTube is going to notice, their system is going to notice that I clicked on it. I got satisfaction out of that video because I watched it for a longer period of time and I further interacted with that content. So all of those are pluses in YouTube's book. So if you can't make those things happen because you lose somebody along the chain of events that I just explained, then what's going to happen is YouTube isn't going to continue to show your content to people, because people are showing YouTube systems that they're just not into what it is that you're doing at this moment in time. Now, with that said, I don't want you to get discouraged if you're like, oh no, I'm not able to get people to click. And the reason I don't want you to get discouraged when you hear that is because YouTube is hard, and developing the skills to be able to get people to click is also hard, and it's a process and it's things that you have to learn. Same thing goes with getting people to watch your videos for a fair amount of time. If people are not watching your videos for a fair amount of time now, a competitive amount of time, then don't give yourself a hard time about it. Just look at it as a challenge and say, okay, well, right now people aren't clicking on my stuff as much as they should because I need to learn how to write better titles. I need to learn how to make better thumbnails. I need to learn to generally package my content better from the outside in order to get them to click. And then I need to spend the time learning how to get people to watch my videos for a longer period of time. Now, YouTube has something called the audience retention reports. And with the audience retention reports in your YouTube analytics, that's going to tell you exactly how people are responding to your content. So what you want to do in that situation is you want to say, okay, people are clicking on my video, they're watching for about this amount of time, and then wow, all of a sudden people start to leave my video. So if people are starting to leave my video, guess what? I have some changes to make. And what that means is that you have to go in and start experimenting with different things that you can do in your videos to keep people watching longer so that it's a more satisfactory experience for them. So if your videos aren't ranking in search, that's why. That was good. Just kind of whipped out a video. I might publish that on the channel, actually. So yeah, I'm just kind of experimenting here because I'm like, hey, you know, we got this different setup, so let's see what we can do with this. But I got to be careful because I don't want the camera to overheat. If it's just sitting here live, it's not a problem. But I don't want the camera to overheat, of course. Glenn Yaz, thank you for the super chat. And let's see here. We've also got another one. Let me click on this one. Super chat. Ron Henry says, is it common for traffic to fluctuate quite a bit from month to month, although no changes in content type or thumbnail? Also, is running display ads to a channel trailer a good strategy? Lawn care niche. So if you're doing lawn care and you're trying to generate, like if you're generating business from your YouTube channel, then running ads, basically what you're doing in that situation is you're marketing your channel. So if you're trying to grow the channel, then in that case, just make sure that you can get an organic response first. And the reason that an organic response, and what I mean by organic response is, when people are on YouTube, if they're clicking on your videos and watching your videos for a fair amount of time anyway, and they're interacting with what you're doing, if they are doing that, then you are getting an organic response. But if you're still having trouble even getting people to click on what you're doing, or they're not watching your video for a longer period of time, and the purpose of you running ads is to grow your YouTube channel, in that case, what you're doing is you are spending money on something that hasn't yet proven effective. So what you need to do is go through the process of fine-tuning your content to get that organic response or that natural response on YouTube. And then once you do that, then you can say, okay, well, since I'm trying to turn this into something that drives a lot of attention to my business, well, in that case, now I'm going to go ahead and start, running some ads on this particular channel. Now, in terms of fluctuations on YouTube, absolutely. So basically the fluctuations come from all of the different ways that you can get traffic. So of course you have people that, to where they have like search-based channels, or you have some videos in church. Yeah. You got those videos too, but you have some videos in search, and then you have some videos, that are getting suggested and things like that. And because of that, sometimes you can lose search rankings, which then will hurt, your the traffic that you're pulling from that source. In addition to that, when your videos are connected or being recommended next to other videos, at that point in time, then what happens is you're also a little bit dependent on some of those other videos as well. So if you have a really strong video that's driving a lot of views your way, and then somebody overtakes that video and another video starts getting recommended more, and that video starts doing poorly, then what can happen is that can actually flow over to you as well. But in most cases, if you have a high performing video that is getting clicked on a fair amount of time, in most cases, you're still going to be getting suggested traffic from somewhere, but you might see losses come in because, a video that you were pulling a lot of traffic from is now not there anymore, or it just doesn't perform for YouTube as much. So then it doesn't get as much attention, which means that attention can't flow over into the video that you have. So because of that, absolutely there's fluctuations. In addition to that, like in your case, you're doing lawn care. So if you're doing lawn care, you probably are going to see fluctations based around seasons around certain parts of the region, depending on where it is that you are. So as an example, if you were in Ohio, or people in Ohio, now you don't have to be in Ohio. If people in Ohio are watching your videos, well, as soon as it gets cold and people aren't cutting their grass anymore, then you're going to see your viewership decline a little bit, because that entire region that's getting cold, where people don't manage their yard for the season, they're not going to be watching your videos learning how to do stuff. Savvy Turtle, thank you. Orchard Quilts, good morning. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Love of Pets, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Hope everybody's doing great. If you're just joining the stream, I want to let you know that I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there's a form down in the description below. You can put your question in there. It's 100% free. Put your question in there, and once I get to it in the queue here, then I will get it answered here on the show. I'm going to be streaming for probably another 3 hours or so. So there's plenty of time. Go ahead and get your question in there now if you haven't yet, but it's down in the description. If you're on a mobile device, then you're going to be watching this video. If you turn your phone vertically, then there's going to be like a little down arrow next to the title. You want to click on that, and that'll let you down into the video description, where you can go down and answer your question or ask your question, so we can get it answered here live for you, so we can get you all straightened out, so to speak. Okay, so the next question that we have here on the list is from, it's funny because I'm using the Mac here for the questions, and I'm still not familiar with it. I'm a PC guy, so I'm still not familiar with the with this. So I'm used to scrolling in one direction on the PC, and this requires me to scroll in another direction, or there's a setting that I haven't figured out yet. And because of that, it's awkward for me just to like scroll around and everything. So like the whole setup's new today. So we're just like stumbling through this whole thing, but but it's cool, enjoying it. Always fun to, try new stuff. Okay. So the next question here is from Kyla Morecroft. Kyla Morecroft says that they've been on YouTube for 1 year or more. It's a music channel. The goal of the channel is I want to make an impact on people with my music. And the question is, the way I produce my videos takes a long time. Yeah, that's YouTube. Takes a long time using different angles to make clips and to make it all cinematic. Would you suggest doing it differently and more simply to be able to upload more frequently? However, this will make my channel less unique in my opinion. P.S. I actually upload every 2 weeks, but there was no option to select this. Okay, so when you are uploading your videos to YouTube and you're putting your content together as a creative, as a musician, you have like a certain standard that you want to go by, right? We all do, but you also want to experiment. If you want to get out more content, if you're like, hey, I think that it would be advantageous to me to put out more content because instead of putting out, X amount of videos per year, I could double it if I could just upload once per week instead of once every 2 weeks. So because of that, what I would start doing personally, and what I actually did do on my channel, is I would actually start putting out content that is once per week and just pull it back and just kind of test it out. See what the threshold is. I know that you're saying that it'll make your channel less unique. However, I would just test the threshold of what is good for your audience, because you might find, like I did, that a lot of the extra stuff that you were doing in your videos doesn't even matter, right? People didn't respond to it any differently just because you're doing all this extra stuff. So on the creative side now, that's something that isn't that great of advice, because on the creative side, because I'm just talking about uploading more, getting in front of your audience more. But on the creative side, you have the issue where you're like, man, this just isn't, this isn't me, right? Or this isn't how I want it to be. And if it's not you or how it is that you want it to be, then in that situation, you have to say, okay, well, am I willing to bend on this? And if you are, then, cool, bend. And then you can upload more. But if you're not, then, you have that whole, perfection side of things that's going to limit the amount of times that you upload. And that's okay. Because if that's what you're trying to do is just put out, really cool music videos that people love and that you're super proud of, then in that case, that's perfectly fine. But if you are uploading videos and you're like, hey, I want to grow on YouTube, I want to just keep cranking out content so that people can, keep being exposed to my music and I can stay at the top of the mind of people that are listening to my music and stuff like that. Yeah, try to pull back a little bit on what it is that you're doing with your videos for the sake of just seeing what that tolerance level is with your audience. A few videos for the test isn't going to hurt you. So just experiment with it and see what works out best for you compared to what it is that you normally do, and see if it makes a difference for your audience or not. Paul Peck Drywall in the house, Blue Eyed Tech also in the house. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing fantastic. Okay. Next up on our list, we've got let's see here. We've got PC. It's a gaming entertainment channel. The goal of the channel says, I want to make funny and well-edited videos for people to enjoy and maybe make money. Maybe make money off of it. Is there something someone can specifically do to get new viewers or to click or get YouTube to show your videos to potential new viewers? Absolutely. So if you want to get your videos in front, I'm going to make this one a video real quick. Let's see if we can do this. This is great. You know what? This might actually work out. This might train my brain to just one take videos too. That'd be great. Let's see here. if you want people to click on your YouTube videos more, you have to talk, if you want people to click on your YouTube videos more, you have to think of the human aspect of YouTube. And if you want to get in front of more new people, you have to think about, again, the human aspect of YouTube and what it is that's going to get you in front of more new people. Because at the end of the day, in order for your channel to grow, of course, you have to be getting in front of a new audience in addition to serving the audience that you already have. But if you just make content that's going to serve only your subscribers, then that does limit you in terms of getting in front of new people, sort of. But if you are serving those subscribers, what's naturally going to happen, and this is the key thing here, what's naturally going to happen is YouTube is going to start noticing, hey, these people that are subscribed to this channel, their system is going to start noticing that the people that are subscribed to your channel, they are really into what it is that you do. And that means that you're putting out content that is giving viewer satisfaction. So what's going to happen is YouTube is going to start identifying, hey, this particular type of user on the platform that likes to watch all of these different types of content and interact with it in all these different ways, when they land on this channel, they're also enjoying the content. They're also interacting with it in a similar way. So we've identified who a good fit is for this video. So now let's go ahead and start showing it to other people on the platform that fit this profile, right? Now, when they do that, here's where the difference happens. When they start showing your videos to other people on the platform that would also be a good fit, it comes down to you being able to get those people to click, because YouTube is already determining these people that we're showing it to are likely to click and enjoy this content. So when they present your videos to people, or they give them an impression, is the technical term for it. When they give them an impression on YouTube, or when they give your video an impression on YouTube, that means they're showing it to people. And when they do that, if the people click on it, then you're going to have the opportunity for them to enjoy the content, possibly earn those people as a subscriber. But if they don't click on it, or when they do, they don't watch your video for a longer period of time, then what's going to happen is YouTube is going to identify people aren't responding to this. So this audience that we're showing this to, they're just not responding. So therefore, we're going to kind of, not show it to as many people, or try to show it to a different audience that might respond to this. But the thing is, on YouTube, if you're putting out good content and you're titling your videos in a way that make it easy for people to identify what the video is about, plus you have a compelling element to it, and you're making thumbnails that are effective. I don't mean pretty. They can be pretty. Effective thumbnails can definitely be pretty, but they need to be effective, which means they need to be able to get people to click. They need to, on another side of being effective, they need to work well with the title in order to explain to people or build some type of expectation to people from the outside who've never clicked on the video before. It has to be able to explain to those people what that video might be about and entice them to click. And if you can do that and you can get people to watch, then YouTube is going to show your content to more new people, and that's going to help your channel grow. All right. Do we got Jevin Dovey in the house? We have Jevin in here? I think I just saw some people saying, hey, Jevin. Good morning, Jevin. What's up, Jevin? If you are in the chat, I'm scrolling around, man. I don't see you yet, but what's up, man? Welcome to the live stream. I hope that you are doing fantastic. Also,
welcome to the Nimminati.
Love audio production. Next time that you are on Facebook, look for Nimminati VIP. That's our members only Facebook group. There's some free stuff for you here on YouTube as well if you look in the community feed. But next time you're on Facebook, make sure that you join the members only Facebook group. I actually made a mistake. So for anybody that joined last week, I made a mistake, and I didn't get in there quickly. I thought that I did it. I actually marked it off of my list and I didn't do it. But some of the members that joined last week, I didn't let them in there until it was like last night or early this morning. So just as a heads up, if you did submit for that last week, it was totally my mistake and I apologize. But you're in there now, so you're good to go. So just check that next time you're on Facebook. But for you, Love Audio Productions, make sure that next time you're on Facebook, you look for that. Now, if you can't find it, one of the members only videos that's on the channel right now, if you go into the description of them, then you'll find a direct link. You'll find a direct link there. Okay. Next up, we've got
Super Chat.
Daniel Kuzmenko says, a little off topic. Do you have any advice for someone looking into moving to another country out of the U.S.? Yeah, totally off topic. But yeah, I do actually. I'm out of the U.S. and it's awesome, especially right now. But I love America. America's a great country. I'm happy to be an American. But I just prefer the lifestyle that I get when I'm outside of America. For me, as an American, the day-to-day, things that you do, every time I go to America, I end up in autopilot, which means that everything's just so easy that my brain almost just shuts off and I go into autopilot throughout my day, which, there's good things with that too. But living outside of the States, where you have like language things that you have to deal with, cultural things that you have to deal with, even though it can be challenging and frustrating at times, it also keeps you engaged. So like if you're considering it, go for it. And the reason for that is because of that whole thing with, just one, totally different lifestyle. Two, the tax advantage is also good if you stay outside of the country. And in addition to that, it gives you a chance to, immerse yourself in something that is foreign. And because of that, there's also, cool stuff that happens just in terms of your life or the experiences that you have that also come with that. So if you're considering it, give it a shot. You don't have to fully commit. One of the things that I did is when I first came over here, I dedicated a year and I said, I'll make a decision after a year on how I feel about it. And I came over for a year and I went back and I was like, man, I have all this stuff here, and I haven't used it in a year. Like, how important is all this stuff? It's not, right? And I ended up getting rid of everything that I had, and I came back here, and I've been here, ever since. So yeah, if you're considering it, give it a shot. You might really enjoy it. Let's see here. Next up, we've got Joe Oceanside says, "Hey Nick, thanks for all you do." My pleasure, Joe. Says, "Do you think that I should add chapters in every video? Does it help retention, or does it reduce retention by encouraging skipping parts of the video?" So one of the things that I'm going to start doing in a handful of videos also is adding the chapters, and the reason for that is because I'm a big fan of viewer experience. So what I recommend that you do, Joe, is that you just test it against the people that are watching your content and see if it helps people come back more, which you can actually see in your analytics, but see if it keeps people coming back more, see how people respond to it in your videos and your audience retention reports. And the reason for that is because, let's say your channel, you say Oceanside, it looks like you're wearing like a snorkel in your profile picture here. So like on your channel, the people that you're in front of, they might respond better to that than, let's say, like a gamer that's hanging out in the stream right now. So because of that, I would definitely just test it against your audience to see how they respond, because then you get the information on exactly how the people that are watching your videos respond to the different things that you do. And anytime, for everybody that's watching this, like if you, like all the things that I talk about, test everything on your channel against your audience, against the type of content that you have, because if you are not testing it, then you're just like, taking it as like, oh, this is a thing. But everybody needs to test everything against your audience. And the reason for that is because people react to creators differently. They react to different kinds of content differently, and they react to, the way that you're putting things together differently. So because of that, definitely test against your specific audience with all this stuff. Now, most of it, blanket rules in terms of getting people to click, writing good titles, getting people to watch your videos for a fair amount of time, getting people to engage, all that stuff. It's across the board. But in terms of the nuances of things like Joe's asking here, make sure that you test things like that against your audience, the people that are watching your videos.
Super chat.
Couponing for a cause. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, next question that we have here in the chat. And again, if you're just joining us, what we are doing today is I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you're doing here on YouTube, go ahead and put it in the form down in the description below. It is a first come, first serve thing. So make sure that you get down there and you put it in the description now so I can get it answered here on the live stream today. Okay, so we've got the Reaper.
Super chat.
Says, can you license your YouTube channel as a business? I had this in the form last week, but ran out of time. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so basically, since you're generating income from your YouTube channel, then absolutely. Even if it's a venture and you haven't generated income from it yet, then you can also license it as a business. And when you do that, then you have the fun things that you can do. Depending on where you're located in the world, you have the fun things to where, you go out and buy a microphone. Well, that's for work, right? You travel to a conference. Guess what? That's for work. So you start having these additional advantages that come from having everything put together as a business. All right. So let's see here. Next up on our list, we have Plush Gamers. Plush Gamer says they do gaming and entertainment content. The goal of the channel is I want to make funny, well-edited videos for people to enjoy and maybe make money off of it. And the question is there anything oh, we got that one already. Okay. Shame on me. I just did a repeat. Okay. So next up, we've got Katie McGrath Yoga. Katie McGrath Yoga says that they do bi-weekly content. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They make yoga videos. And the goal of the channel says, I would love to make a full-time income from producing yoga videos, grow a following of potential yoga students, and build a business around that. And the question is, thank you for reading this question. Love your content. So thank you for the kind words. It says, I worry that the quality of my videos is inferior compared to similar channels. I have a Canon G7X camera, which is good, a little outdated now, but I can't figure out how to make my videos look better. I also invested in a good mic, a Rode lavalier, and have one light. I do want to invest in more lights and equipment eventually, but that's about as much as my budget will allow for now. I'm trying to focus on the quality of the yoga class rather than the video because I think that's what ultimately will help me grow. But I don't think it's, but I think that if people click and they see the poor visual, they'll check out and choose another video. So my question is, should I focus on the quality or the production more, or the quality of the yoga class? If production is important, do you have any advice on making high quality videos on a budget? And how important is it to use different angles when shooting a yoga class? Thank you so much. Okay, so that's a long one, a lot to unpack here. So let's kind of go through it. So in terms of generating a full-time income, first, I want to say that through yoga content, you can definitely get a full-time income. There's a company that I make some videos for called Uscreen, and check them out, because basically once you get the ball rolling a little bit, or you can go ahead and just do it now, you can create a Uscreen channel, and with that, people can actually pay you for a bunch of different courses that you put in there and things like that. Sarah Beth Yoga is a good example. I'm sure you're probably familiar with her if you're in the yoga space. Sarah Beth has a Uscreen account, and that's one of the things that she does as well. Is she basically drives people to her Uscreen channel, and basically people pay a monthly fee in order to access her content. So if you're wanting to go full time, the best way to go full time is to create things that people will buy. In your case, it would be, course content, or personalized, coaching via the internet or whatever. But the idea, if you're wanting to go full time on YouTube, for everybody, it doesn't matter what type of content you have, you got to have something to sell if you're wanting to make money. Now, of course, YouTube ads you can also make money with, but you got to get a lot of views in order to make a substantial amount of money. But you can easily go full time on YouTube if you're getting a decent amount of views with ads, but it just fluctuates a lot. So because of that, it's a really good idea to get some other assets in place that you can generate income from. So that's the first thing I want to say. Now, in addition to that, the quality of your equipment. So when it comes to the quality of your equipment on YouTube, it's important to think about, yes, it does matter. So people say, quality doesn't matter. It does matter. So people are painting a perception of the type of content that you have based on what it is they see when your video opens. So because of that, if your camera equipment isn't up to par yet in terms of, it doesn't have to be the best quality in the world, but it just has to be at an acceptable level. So in your case, you're using a G7X. I'm going to guess that it's probably at an acceptable level already. Your problem most likely just comes down to how you're lighting your videos, which you're already working through. So when it comes to lighting your videos, let me switch to this camera here so you can see. So when it comes to lighting your videos, you can see, like in this situation, there's actually one you can't even see, but in this situation, I have one light over here. I have another light over here. I have one right over here up in the corner that's shining down to kind of give me a little bit of light here and create a little bit of separation, right here as well. And that's just for this setup. Now I have a similar setup for the stand-up version of what it is that I do. And I have lights that I move around as well for that reason, because lighting is so important when it comes to quality. Now, the stuff in the background, like you can even see, let me just turn all this off here real quick. So you can even see the difference that having, lighting in the background makes. So when I have that on there, it adds a lot of, vibrance to the scene. It makes it a little bit more, it adds more depth to what's going on, and it makes it more of a deeper scene because, actually, let me switch it back to here so you can see. There we go. But it makes it like a deeper scene because there's separation, clear separation from me in the background as well. Now, I know with yoga content, it's a little bit different in terms of, how you're doing everything. But what you need to do is you need to get as much light in your room. If you're doing like a nice, even lighting setup in your place, you need to get as much lighting in your place as humanly possible. And I don't mean you have to have a bunch of lights. I just mean the lights that you have need to be really bright. Now, a couple things that you can do is you can get just like 2 really bright lights and you can bounce them off of the ceiling so that the light is hitting the ceiling and then, kind of raining down on you. That's one way to do it. One thing that people commonly do is they'll try to mix like studio lights with room lights. But the problem that you might run into there is white balance. And what white balance is, it's basically like a spectrum of color. So what you have to think about is, some lighting is more yellow, some lighting is more white. So you want to be more on the whiter side of the white balance or of the Kelvin scale so that you can make sure that your skin tones look good and all of that. But what happens is if you're combining room light with studio lighting or, soft boxes, things like that, then what can happen is the colors don't match up and it can make your scene look kind of weird. So because of that, what I recommend that you do is turn off all of your lights, right? Turn off every light in your place. Start building your light out. So basically turn off everything and then start building it out. So it's like, hey, this is my mat. This is my yoga mat. And right now I only have one light to work with. So how do I get a lot of light here on this yoga mat if I only have one light to work with? Well, one solution is, of course, bouncing it off the ceiling like I was talking about. But in that particular situation, you might get a lot of, harsh shadows in terms of, if you're doing a pose, then in that situation, everything underneath you is going to be dark, right? So because of that, you would need to find some type of fill light in order to fill those shadows underneath you. And then that would really kind of be all that you needed. But another thing that you can do as well is you could actually surround yourself, because in that situation, you would have, light coming from each direction. Just make sure they can't see the lights, but you would have light coming from each direction. And when you have that light coming from each direction, it would kind of fill all of those spots and it would give you a nice, really bright look. Now, another thing that comes from quality is the actual noise or grain that you see in the video. So for example, live streams like this live stream right now, it probably has quite a bit of grain in it because it's pushing directly through the internet. It's being compressed. But a lot of that can be fixed if you're recording the video content. A lot of that can be fixed by adjusting your ISO on your camera, because if you have a higher ISO, you're likely to bring in more grain. If you have a lower ISO, then you're likely to bring in less grain because it's not opening up the camera as much. So because of that, mess with your camera settings, mess with your lighting, and if possible, you can also use the sunlight to where, you might have one white, like a daylight balanced, one daylight balanced light. And then you have the actual sunlight, not directly hitting you, but you just have ambient sunlight coming in from one of your windows. And that can also be a way to light yourself up, naturally, and just have a nice bright room to work with. But a lot of quality just comes down to your camera settings and the lighting that you choose to use with what it is that you're doing. But really, you've already got the camera. You're already going through the process of the microphone, right? You're building it up. And that's the process that we all have to go through as content creators, is you start out with like, oh man, how do I make something look decent? And then, as you go through the process, you just kind of work on what it is that you're doing. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I'm not sure if you're here for it or not, but this whole thing that I'm doing right now with this stuff, in the background with this new switcher that I got right here. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's not over there yet, so you can't. But like this little switcher that I got here, and I have everything, set up right now, that I'm experimenting with this right now too, just trying to, make the home stream a little bit cooler, since we typically do it in the studio and we can't do that right now. So because of that, just always trying to push those limits for everybody watching this right now. Always trying to push those limits is really important. But just keep in mind, you don't need the best stuff. It just needs to be good enough to get you going. And then as you get going, and in your case, you're trying to generate income from this. So you create content, get an audience, and make something for that audience to buy from you, in terms of like your classes that you would put on Uscreen as an example, or any other place that you want to put them, and then you can start generating revenue from that while you're heading towards monetization on YouTube, or as you're already monetized on YouTube, getting some money from that. I would definitely bring attention to certain yoga mats that you use, and if there's any like little things that you use in your yoga practice, even the clothes that you use in yoga, in order to bring attention to those things as an affiliate. And you also have that additional stream of income as well, so that over time, as you are sending people over to Uscreen, as you're pulling in affiliate income from from the different things you're bringing attention to, or spreading awareness about the things that you already use and enjoy and you think would be a good fit for your audience, and then you also have some ad revenue coming in, before you know it, that's going to swell up pretty fast, and you'll be able to go full time as long as you keep going. But before you do that, of course, you'll be able to upgrade your gear, get better lights, maybe even get a studio, depending on, like where it is that you, decide to take it. But you might even end up with a studio in the future where you have like full lights built in, and, like a full on, actual production as well, if you chose to. But, it's possible. And I encourage you to keep going and keep developing that skill and having that desire to like, hey, this is where I'm at right now. I'm getting a light at a time. Right, getting one light at a time, and I'm experimenting with it. Jevin Dovey, he's in the chat right now, or at least he was. He has videos on lighting. I have videos on lighting. Watch my videos on lighting. Watch Jevin's videos on lighting. He actually has a much cooler lighting. His is more cinematic, all the stuff that he does. So it has that like cool, like cinematic look. But you might be able to apply that to what it is that you're doing in your yoga practice as well, to kind of help your content stand out from the other people that are just doing like really bright, focused light, as long as people can see the moves that you are doing. So definitely stuff to experiment there. So that was a pretty long one, but I just wanted to make sure that, I answered that question, to par there for you. Okay. Next one, on the list, we've got, the Explorer 2006. says different type of channel. It's all kinds of different stuff. The goal is to entertain. And the question is, can you tell me how to improve my channel? Yeah. Instead of making your channel about a bunch of different stuff, focus on one thing. Think about, okay, I'm trying to reach a certain type of viewer with a certain type of content that I have, because if you are uploading videos right now and you're not getting that traction that you wanted, well, in that case,
Super chat.
Hattie Ann, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. But if you are uploading content right now and you're not getting the results out of it that you want to, then something has to change, or you are just on that path and you just got to grind it out until something does work out. But one thing that you got to think about is like, who is it? Like, these are the things that I'm interested in, but who is it that I'm actually making this stuff for? Because I'm making it as the creative outlet for myself. But if I want people to watch it, like, I care about improving my channel because I want people to watch my stuff, right? So when you're thinking about that, you have to think, okay, well, if people are going to be coming in and watching my channel and I want people to watch my channel, who do I want to be watching my channel? What kind of things do I want them to be interested in, right? You really have to identify that, because when you do that, then you can focus in on one type of content that's going to serve one type of viewer, and then you're going to turn your channel into a resource for that one type of content. Like, that's the way to, it's just an easy win. It's a low-hanging fruit on how to win on YouTube. Is you focus on a type of content that's for a certain type of audience, you turn your channel into a resource for that type of content. It doesn't have to be how-to, it can be entertainment. It can be gaming. It can be, a certain game that you play. It can be ASMR. It can be, drywall. It can be crafting. It can be anything. But you just have to say, okay, it's this type of channel. Everything that I put on the channel is going to serve this type of content for the channel that a person or a particular type of person would want to come in and watch. And they're going to be able to identify easily that my entire channel is about that type of content, so that they see my content as a resource, or my channel as a resource for that type of content, so that they're more likely to subscribe and keep coming back and watching more of my stuff when it gets presented to them on YouTube. I did say crafting, little crafty nook. She's like, hey, he said crafting. Absolutely, I did. I saw your name and I'm like, hey, let's do crafting. Yeah. Paul Peck mentioned drywall too. Yep. All right, next up here on the list, we've got, let's see here. We've got Airwolf. So Airwolf has been on YouTube for a week or more, and they upload a video. No, a year or more. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. And the goal is to earn money and have people enjoying my content. The question is, if I posted the same content, would people get bored of it, stop watching me, or will they stay and watch the content because it's what they're here for? That's a fantastic question. And the thing is you want to, I just went through this whole thing. Like, you want to turn your channel into a resource for one type of content. Some people will get bored and they'll leave. Over time, most people will get bored and they'll leave. They'll move on. They'll watch other types of content. Some will come back from time to time when they see your content, presented to them on the homepage. Sometimes you'll be able to pull them back in. Other times they're gone forever. And it's just part of the gig. Just like if you had your favorite show that you watched, and now that show, you just don't watch it anymore. You don't think about that show anymore. You don't watch it anymore. If you had songs that you used to listen to, right? They're like, oh, this was my anthem. I listen to this every day. But it's like, wow, I haven't listened to that song in like 8 years. Right? It just, think that just happens. So because of that, the big win on YouTube about, making a similar type of content or the same type of content is that it helps YouTube identify who the right people are to watch your content or to show your content to. So by making your channel a resource, the really big win with making your channel a resource is that it helps their systems identify, these are the people that are coming into the channel. These are the people that are interacting well with this content. So because of that, we're going to run through the system and we're going to see who else on the platform has viewing habits or uses YouTube in a similar way to the people that are already interacting with this channel. And then they're going to start showing your content to some of those people. And when they start showing your content to when their system starts showing your content to some of those people, what's going to happen in that situation is people are going to start clicking on it as long as YouTube's guesses are right. Their systems are as long as their systems are correct in predicting who's a good fit for it. But as soon as those people start clicking, YouTube systems are also going to identify that, okay, this core people, these are people that are already into the channel. They dig it. So now the system's trying to find more people. Those people are clicking on this and then they're starting to come in. So, hey, this is a good resource, for this type of content, for this type of viewer. So now let's start sampling it out to a lot more people, and they start showing your content to more and more and more and more people. And that's where that whole snowball effect thing comes in that you always hear people talking about on YouTube. Raylan Yap, my pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the content. Okay, so next up we have, hey, Femininity with Mama Gail. What is up? Nice to see you. Life with Lonnie in the house. What is up? Hope that you are doing awesome, everybody. So the next one is Son, How Do I? And the, let's see here, the channel is a teaching kids life skills. And the goal of the channel is teaching kids life skills. And the question is, could you sub me? Joke. Subscribed. Got it. Says, how do I advertise my channel and get 665 subscribers like you? It's not about advertising your channel. To get 665,000 subscribers like me, I think I'm like 50. Oh yeah, you say 656. Sorry, that was my brain, not your mistake. My mistake. But basically, my channel, all the things that I tell you to do, all the things like when you watch my videos, every single thing that I mention, do this, 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 do this. Keep an eye on this. Make sure that you're doing this. Consider this. Keep this in mind. If you're toughing it, this is if you're roughing it, this is how you get through it. Right? This is how you get views. This is how you get subscribers. Like I explain in my content exactly how to do exactly what it is that I'm doing in terms of results. And the best thing is you can replicate it. Right? So the things that I've done to grow my channel are the same exact things that have worked for clients to grow their channels. It's the same exact things that have worked for other people that are in this chat right now to grow their channels. Right? And it's the same things that you're going to end up doing in order to grow your channel as well. The big divide happens from I'm just kind of doing this and let's just see what happens to, you know what, I'm going to take this seriously and I'm going to make this work. I'm going to learn what I have to learn. I'm going to apply everything it is that I learn. I'm going to test it and I'm going to keep going and keep, applying this stuff and keep testing and keep trying to improve with every video that I upload. Like that's where the difference happens, right? It's from the, I'm just going to upload videos and see how it works out. There's that crowd. And then there's the crowd of like, and sometimes it works out, right? Sometimes it does work out for those people. So don't get me wrong. Sometimes it works out. So if you're one of those people, don't sweat it. Don't be like, oh no. Like sometimes it works out. But for the people that are like, yeah, you know what, this is something like I have fun with it. It helps me connect with other people who are into the, similar types of things that I'm into. This is something that I can generate extra money from. This is something that I can, get free stuff from, different brands, because I'm doing this type of content or whatever. Like if you take it seriously and you start applying the stuff, then you'll get results. You just have to keep applying what it is that you're doing and keep trying to improve over time, and you'll get results. Okay, so next up on our list is from AVE Zoid. So give me 1 second here, AVE Zoid. And drink your coffee.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So let's see here. The next one on our list. Oh, here, hold on really quick. Oh, lost it. Uh-oh. Lost it. Now, how am I ever going to find it again? No. All right, there we go. Coop's channel.
Super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right. So next up on our list, we have AVE Zoid. AVE Zoid says that, Life with Laney says also listen to Comments Over Coffee. That's my podcast. Yeah, absolutely. I got a link to that down in the description. If you want to learn about YouTube on the go when you're just out running around, the whole theme is that you can learn about YouTube over a cup of coffee, right? So go ahead and, make sure that you subscribe to that as well. Okay, so next up, we've got ABZ Zoid here, and I think it's like the third time or fourth time that I've mentioned that. So it's a gaming channel, and the goal of the channel is to entertain people and hopefully gain a following on YouTube. And the question is, why do so many channels that make videos that don't require much effort, such as reaction channels that just do let the video play and then they just say a few words after, usually get better results than channels that actually put a lot of effort into their videos? And if you do read this, thank you. And I love your videos, Nick. So thank you for the kind words. So basically, when it comes to reaction channels, the win with reaction channels is that they typically will talk about things around trends. And when they talk about things that are around trends, that gives them the opportunity to basically tap into something when there's a heightened interest about that thing all over the internet. So because of that, depending on the reactions that they do, their videos can show up next to other reaction videos. They can even show up next to the original video that they're reacting to, depending on how well people click on their reaction and respond to that reaction video. So it's typically because of that. It's not necessarily that, that they're doing anything special, so to speak. It's just that they talk about things that are usually around a more, heightened interest on the platform. Now, in addition to that, there's also the additional side that comes with reaction videos as well. And that additional side is if I click on this reaction video right now, one of the additional things that I'm trying to do besides be entertained is I'm trying to see if this person thinks the same way I do or not, right? Do they agree with me on this video? Do they think it's funny in the same place as I do? Do they have the same humor? Do they, disagree with the video in the same way that I would disagree with the video, right? So you also have that side to where you're also looking for, or where people are, they're looking for their entertainment, but then for some people, it's also like a validation things of their own opinion as well. And in some cases, it's just like, hey, I'm going to go here to try to find an opinion on this just because I don't have time to really, to watch it and really think it through. So I'm just going to watch this other person react to it. And then that's suddenly going to become my opinion, which is kind of crazy in my opinion, but some people are definitely like that. Discovering Natural. Hey, what's up? Nice to see you here in the chat. I hope that you're doing well. It's been a while. Hope that you're doing fantastic. Okay, so next up on our list here is from A Bird's Life. A Bird's Life has been on YouTube for less than 1 month. Welcome to YouTube, Bird's Life. Hope you're doing awesome. Just as a heads up, tons of opportunity here, tons of awesome people here on YouTube. It's a great platform. People that are uploading videos, people that are in this chat right now, everybody's super cool. So welcome to the platform. Hope that you everything goes well with your channel. Let's see here. The goal of the channel is to get some subs. And the question is, my channel is good, but I want more people to see it, but I have no money for ads. How to do that? So most of the channels on YouTube do not grow from ads. So I didn't grow from ads. Most of the other people that you see on YouTube, they didn't grow from ads either. It comes from making content that people like. So it's not just making content that people like, it's also making content that your content decisions will get you in front of people that are interested in a certain thing. And the more that you do that, the more YouTube will try to help get your videos in front of more people that are also interested in that certain thing. So it really comes down to that more than it comes down to running ads. Now, if you make high response content, then in that case, to where you already can get an organic response, then in that situation, sure, you might be able to run ads on your videos. And because of that, it might work out great for you to where, you can get, an additional boost in what it is that you're doing. And then when you're spending ad money in that case, what you're doing is you are, kind of marketing your channel. But in most cases, if you're just getting started on YouTube, one of the worst things that you can do is spend money on ads. And the reason for that is because if you haven't learned how to get a response on the platform, and what I mean by organic response, because you'll hear me say that a lot, what I mean by that is just when you upload videos, people on YouTube respond to them without you having to do anything else. If you can't do that part, then as soon as you turn off your ad spend, guess what? All the activity on your channel is going to be toast, right? Because if you can't get people to click, then all of those people that you just brought in through your ad campaign, they're not going to click on your videos when they're presented to them on YouTube. They came in, they subscribed, they might have watched, whatever video you were advertising, but if you can't get people to click, then they're not going to come back into your channel. And then you just spend a bunch of money that's not doing anything for you. Okay? So get an organic response. If you're going to consider running ads, get an organic response first. Coop's channel
Super chat
says, had a question. If you have vastly different content and then shift to a new focus, should you unlist the old videos? So in my opinion, if your goal is to grow your YouTube channel and connect with a certain type of audience, I think that you should. But one thing that you're going to notice is if you have activity happening on your channel in terms of people are coming in, people are watching your videos, they are, participating in what it is that you're doing. In that case, then what you are going to do is when you unlist those videos, you're going to essentially shut off the traffic that's currently coming into your channel. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. So what you might want to do, if you don't want to have to deal with that, what you might want to do is you might want to start sprinkling in the new content, or really just do a right turn and just keep, or left turn, I guess it would be, and just keep putting out, the new content, and see some of those people are going to trickle over into the new stuff as well. And then once you start getting a little bit of traction on the new stuff, then you can say, okay, should I go and unlist these videos now? Because now I have, a nice handful of videos on the channel that are, based around, this new direction that I'm going in. So because of that, I'm going to, unlist some of these old videos now. So I have a bunch of videos on my channel, not a bunch, but I have videos on my channel that I've, unlisted, deleted, things like that, because they weren't appropriate for YouTubers now. Since, when I first started my channel, I didn't know that I was, making videos for YouTubers, right? I didn't have that plan. I didn't know that until later on in the journey. So on my channel, I had videos about, how to stay productive in a coffee shop and, things like that. And, just motivational videos and stuff like that in terms of like, how to stay motivated to keep working and doing that kind of stuff. But it was based around things that I was going through at that time. But those videos now, they're gone because they're not a good fit for you. Right? Some people might enjoy those videos, but I don't want those videos being served to new people and those new people thinking that my entire channel is about that motivational video or, being focused when you're trying to work in a coffee shop or something like that. So, so because of that, I would just go ahead and take that turn and then make that decision a little bit later after you see how people respond to the new direction that you're going. Because you might find that, hey, that new direction you're going, maybe I'm not 100% committed to this yet. Maybe I go in another direction, right? So then you still have some people that you can test that new content against as you start walking down that road, so to speak. So Gimpy says,
Super chat.
Gimpy says, so I'm struggling with thumbnails. I'm a gaming channel and I'm wanting to know if you have any tips in terms of making a thumbnail more clickable. Absolutely. So TubeBuddy has an A/B testing tool so that you can basically see how to make effective thumbnails. You can take the thumbnail that you originally have and then you can upload a test thumbnail against that one. So you basically upload both of them into YouTube. It'll actually, not YouTube, but TubeBuddy. It'll go ahead and pull in the one that you have on your video and then you put up another one. You load it into TubeBuddy and then TubeBuddy will actually swap them back and forth, and then they will let you know which one people respond to better, which is a win. Now, in addition to that, there are best practices when it comes to your thumbnails. So the very first thing is you got to think of how does your thumbnail work well with your title? Does it complement your title? Does it create a contrasting idea with your title? Does it, highlight or bring more attention to something that's happening in your title or vice versa? You also want to think about if you are focusing on a particular thing. Let's say, for example, your thumbnail, you're focusing on this remote, right? So let's say that you're focusing on this remote. Well, in that case, you'd want to have the remote, and I'm just going to do it this way for the sake of, having it lit. But basically, you'd want to fill that remote up, right? You wouldn't want the remote to be this big because then it would be difficult to even know because one, I would be in focus almost with the remote, but then there's a bunch of other stuff that somebody would see, right? So they wouldn't necessarily know at a glance what this video is about. If this, what you're seeing on the screen right now, if this was the thumbnail. However, if it's about this remote and I'm like, hey, should you get this remote for your Sony camera? Then in that case, if the whole thing, all the focus is on this remote, well, guess what? All of a sudden it's crystal clear that this video is about this remote. So when you take that approach, then what you're doing is you're giving yourself the opportunity to really focus the attention of the person that just happens to see your thumbnail on YouTube. It's like, hey, this video is about this thing, right? Same exact thing goes if you're doing gaming content, or you're doing crafting content. Did it again with crafting. But yeah, if you're doing crafting content, if you're doing gaming content, or if you're, Eric Waite and you're doing whiskey content, if you focus on the thing that's going to grab somebody's attention, that's the win. Now we can level this whole thing up a bit. Let's say in Eric's case, because he's doing like whiskey studies, right? So he talks about whiskey on his channel. So because of that, it's important for him to make sure that if he's talking about whiskey and he's trying to get in front of people that are interested in the topic of whiskey and reviews on whiskey and things like that, then he needs to make it easy for them to identify at a glance without having to think it through. They need to be able to identify at a glance that his video is about whiskey. So how do you do that? Well, you would take that bottle of whiskey, or in this case, we would just do it with coffee, and you would basically make sure that the coffee or the whiskey in his case would be the focus of the thumbnail itself as well. Now, in terms of like using text, not using text, that all comes down to how your audience responds. And you'll find in some videos, text works better than others, or text works better. Other videos, it doesn't work. Some channels you'll find text always works, or most of the time. Other channels you'll find that text doesn't work, that great. It's better just to focus on the thing that you're talking about. So those are just some ideas for things that you can do to make your thumbnail more clickable. If you are going to use text, just as one more thing, because I know a lot of people, do use text on their thumbnails. If you are using text on your thumbnails, make sure that the text that you're using in your thumbnails is big, bold, and very easy to read. Okay. It doesn't have to be bold. It just has to be big enough that it's easy to read, because on a phone here, I'll just open it up here so you can see, and you can probably see it, right now in your view as well. But like right here, we have, the channel 1% Better. I'm going to click into, I'm going to click into one of his videos. And then while I'm watching his video, I see this video right down here in the bottom, right? So I see that. So since I see this right down here in the bottom, there's like a ton of text here, right? It's a book though. So on this book cover, the person's name, Ryan Holiday, is actually, quite, there's attention going to that. So if I was somebody that was into Ryan Holiday books, that would help me identify it, but it is still pretty small. So I would also try to focus it. Now, in contrast, if that one is compared to this one, and you can see it right here through the video, this one, the text that's on it, right? You have to actually struggle to even read what's on there and to just trying to, figure it out. This one actually grabs your attention. So depending on the text that you're putting on your thumbnails, you can see here, just a few words, nice, big, bold, easy to read, grabs your attention, where this one doesn't necessarily grab your attention. So this one might get clicked on a lot. It might get a lot of views. That's why it's important to make sure that you're testing. But this one grabs attention. And that's extremely important on YouTube, because as people are going through, and just as a heads up, one of them 2 years ago, 19,000 views. The one that's big, bold, and grabs attention, 1 month ago, 406,000 views. But it's also on a very popular channel. But same exact thing here with this Joe Rogan one. Same thing here. They focused on the actual celebrity, and then they focused on just 2 words, right? Because what they're doing there is, again, they're trying to grab attention. They're not trying to make it pretty, right? It looks cool too, but they're not trying to, spell out everything that's in the video with the text that they're using. What they're doing is they're trying to grab your attention so that as you're scrolling through the feed, or when it's suggested there underneath another video, to where you're going to be like, oh, this just grabbed my attention. What is this? And then you'll see those big, bold words, and then you'll look at the title, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm clicking on this. Or in that case, you might see the celebrity. If you're into Joe Rogan, you see the text there, and then you see the Joe Rogan. It's like, oh, what do they have to say about Joe Rogan? You might not even need to read the text, which is kind of like a level up in thinking when you're putting your thumbnails together. I'll go ahead and tell you. Okay. So when you are putting your titles and your thumbnails together, it's important to think of a couple of things. One of those things is that you need to grab attention, like I was just showing you. But one of the things that you also need to think is that people are extremely distracted in life in general, but they're also extremely distracted on YouTube. So because of that, you need to not only be able to grab their attention with your thumb, but you also need to see if you can accelerate the click. And what I mean by that is, if possible, you don't want to rely on your title. Some people are going to look for titles. Other people are just going to have their attention grabbed to the thumb. But the faster that you can get people to click, the more you're going to win. Because if people have to sit there and they have to think about how your title and thumbnail work together, or they have to, have their attention grabbed by your thumbnail, but then they have to look at your title, they have to spend that extra, milliseconds or whatever doing that thing, then every moment that they spend trying to decide if they're going to click on that or not, while they're comprehending everything, all of those moments lead up to them possibly getting distracted somewhere else. So because of that, it's really important to think about, okay, this is what's going to get people to click. But is there anything that I could do with this package in terms of the thumbnail and the title? Is there anything that I could do with this that could really grab somebody's attention right out of the gate to make somebody like really click on it fast? So an example would be, and I actually have this example in the course that I have coming out. I've got a sign up link for that down and below, just as a heads up. So if you're interested in that, it's like where you'll get notified. So there's an email thing down there. So if you just click on that, put in your email, then I'll let you know when the course is out, so you can come in and be one of the first people in there. But basically, one of the things that I talk about in there is a example of a chocolate cake, right? So if you have a video about a sugar-free chocolate cake, if you just have the chocolate cake itself, and if you go through the course, you're going to be like, oh, hey, I remember him saying this on the live stream. But, and so remember that I just said that you'll remember saying this on the live stream. But anyway, so you'll have that image of the cake, and that's going to grab their attention because it looks delicious, right? And then you have it as part of your title, you have something along the lines of, how to make a delicious, sugar-free cake. But, if you have, in the thumbnail itself, if you have like sugar-free right next to the cake, then what you're doing in that situation is you're accelerating the click. Because in that case, as they're scrolling through, not only do you grab their attention with the cake, but you also grab their attention with the sugar-free, so they don't even have to explore anymore, right? It's done. If they want to read the title, they can, but that's enough information to where somebody that's like, wow, that is sugar-free, I'm in, to where they don't have to read the title, right? So one of the things that you can do when you're putting your titles and your thumbnails together is just think, how can I accelerate what's happening? If somebody's comprehending this stuff, if somebody's going through the feed on YouTube, how can I, 1, grab their attention? And how can I, 2, get them to click? 3, how can I get them to click faster? right? So really sit back and think about every video that you upload. How am I packaging this? How am I going to get people to respond to what it is that I'm doing? That was a little wordy, but hopefully that made sense.
Super chat.
Let's see here. That was great. See, here it is with the Mac. I have no idea what just happened. Oh, there we go. Okay, Femininity with Mama Gail. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay. So let's see here. Next up on our list, let me scroll through here, see if anything that I missed. Whoa, let me go ahead and turn that off. All right. Okay, so if you're just joining us, I'm answering questions from the forum. Every now and then I'll pull them from the chat if I see like a really good question come in from the chat as well. But I'm pulling the questions that you're hearing answered. I'm pulling them from the forum, but I do want to let you know that everybody that's in the chat right now, if you are watching this live stream, everybody's a content creator. Everybody is doing the same thing that you're doing. These are your people. This is not in any way a sub for sub or any type of exchange type of stream, but these are people that are doing the same thing that you are, that understand the experience that you're going through as a content creator. These are your people, so definitely feel free to network with the other people here that are participating in the live stream as well. But again, this is not a sub for sub. This is not any type of exchange or anything like that. It's simply, if you want to make YouTuber friends, this is a fantastic place to do it. So the next question that we have on our list, and I want to let you know also that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators. It'll help you grow your channel by helping you test your thumbnails, by helping you optimize your videos for discovery, and helping you run your channel in general. You can try TubeBuddy for free through the link down in the description below, or you can go to tubebuddy.com/Nimmin, and you can see what TubeBuddy can do for you. Okay, next up, we've got Fiscal Rangers Florida says, can you share advanced tips on end screens? Yeah, so for end screens are pretty simple. So what you want to do with your end screens, and of course, this is going to be dependent on the type of content that you make, but one of the things that you want to do with your end screens is you want to tell people to click. So it can be graphically, it can be verbally, but you want to tell people to click on something. So for example, the live stream clips channel that we're doing, with that, at the very end of the video, because it's just clips pulled from the live stream. So because of that, I'm not actually saying anything at the end of every question that I answer in order to have like an end screen, right? So because of that, I just did a voiceover saying, inviting people to join us every Saturday if they want their questions answered live. And I think I might have told people to like click the description or check the description or something like that also. But the goal with that channel is to make these live streams, into bite-sized information, but also to drive people into the live streams. Like that's what I'm trying to do with that channel. So because of that, like them watching more videos, things like that isn't that big of a deal. They will watch more videos. But at the end, having a call to action to where it's actually verbal, or to where you have a graphic of some kind saying, watch another video, which is what I have in that one. But a graphic saying to watch another video is what you want to do. But having that call to action is important. But in addition to that, I recommend that you think, what is it that the people that are watching this video would be likely to watch next? And then you link that video or playlist to videos. And the reason that playlists are important is because you want somebody who's gotten to the end of your video. They've proven to you that they are into your content. They are into what it is that you're doing. And because of that, you want to make it easy for them to find more of your content. So linking to another video or a playlist and telling them, hey, watch this video here about this. And then they can click on that video or playlist and they can go in there and watch more of your content in an easy way. Now, in addition to that, I also recommend that you have the best for viewer option there as well. And the reason for that is because you're going to have the thing that you're going to recommend, but then YouTube is going to recommend, their algorithms are going to recommend, that particular one is going to recommend what they think that the person would be most likely to watch next. So then you're recommending, a particular thing, and then YouTube is also recommending a particular thing. So that's what you want to do with your end screen. So verbal call to action, or at least a graphic call to action, but some type of call to action, and you recommending a piece of content, and then you also a piece of content or a playlist, and then you also put a best for viewer on there as well. Because in a lot of cases, YouTube is smarter than we are in terms of, predicting what our viewers are going to want to watch next. So you want to make sure you put that in there. Mumverse Teen
Super chat
says, Nick, we're discussing sharing videos to YouTube groups on Facebook to get more views. Is this good or bad? This is horrible. Don't do it. I stopped doing it as I thought it would mess with the algorithm. Okay, here's where this breaks down. So anybody that is sharing their content in like YouTube groups, the reason that that's the wrong thing to do is because the people in the YouTube groups aren't the people that you are trying to reach with your content. And what typically happens in those groups is people share them in those groups hoping that some people will go and click and they'll watch videos, or they do some type of exchange. where, hey, I'll watch your video if you watch my video, or I'll sub you, or if you sub me, and all that stuff. But the problem is the people in those groups don't care about your content. If YouTube shows your videos to those people on their home pages, then they're not going to care about your content. So because of that, it's a horrible fit, because what you're doing is you're trying to pull people into your channel that are not a good fit for your channel. So not only does it hurt the performance of your videos immediately, because people will come in, they're not really interested in the content, and then they leave, but not only does it hurt you there, but it also hurts you because then if you do have people that go and they watch your video for a longer period of time because they're trying to support you or whatever, then what happens in that situation is you have those people where they went through, they watched a video for a longer period of time because they thought that, they should, or they thought they were helping you out. And then when YouTube determines, but their systems determine this person just enjoyed this piece of content. They watched it all the way to the end. Not only that, but they even gave it a thumbs up, and they commented because they want you to know that they just watched your video. So then YouTube identifies, hey, this person had a decent experience here. And then they show another one of your videos to them. They don't click on it. And this happens with more and more of those people that you do that with, and then that ends up hurting your click-through rate. It starts messing up who YouTube thinks, who their system thinks that your videos might be for. So because of that, you want to just keep all of that as clean as you possibly can. If you are going to share your videos off of YouTube, make sure that wherever it is that you're sharing it, it's a good fit for your content. And just think, I'm getting ready to share it in this Facebook group. One, am I already an active participant in this Facebook group? If the answer is yes, then your post will most likely be welcomed there, but not a YouTube group, right? Those YouTube groups where people are sharing content around, that's like, you're so working against yourself in that situation. You do not want to do it. Please don't do that. But if you do promote your content, one thing that you want to do is you want to think, okay, in this Facebook group or this subreddit or this website or wherever, the people that are here, that are talking about whatever it is that this website or this group happens to be about, would they respond to my content if it happened to them on YouTube? If YouTube showed your videos to them, right, on their homepage, would those people be likely to click it because they're based on the things that you talk about? If the answer is yes, then it's probably an okay group. But I still personally, I wouldn't mess with it. But if the answer is no, then in that case, don't waste your efforts there. But there are things that you can do. Like, for example, there's a guy right now that I keep seeing. I'm a part of a podcasting group on Reddit. It's a subreddit. And on there, this person keeps sharing like all these great audio tips. And I respond to him. I'm like, hey, this is a great tip. So I click on his videos on YouTube. I watch his videos. I'm subscribed to his channel from, a couple times before that he did that. And, because of that particular subreddit is a really good source of traffic for him because it's a great fit. If I saw those videos on YouTube, I'd click on them anyway. But he happens to be sharing them in a group that I'm in that is just another place where people that are into that sort of thing hang out. And that causes me to be able to discover his content there. Same exact thing happens with a friend of mine. He actually lives like right next to me. Not next door, but like right next to me, is he has a gaming channel. And for the particular game that he plays, he shares his content. He's active in a group on our community on Reddit. And then he shares his content in that group when something like big happens, or if he happens, like if they have like a new character come out or something like that, then he shares his content there. If he does like a guide, he will share his content there. And sometimes they're very well received and he can get a lot of traffic from it. And they're a good fit for his content. In other cases, people don't respond that well to it. They'll come at him and they'll, hey, why are you spamming your stuff here and things like that. So, it's kind of hit and miss in that situation with the gaming community. But if you can find the right fit, then in that case, it can be okay. Like ASMR Dream More, for example. Like in her case, there's a subreddit about ASMR. So other people are probably sharing her stuff there. But, if she wanted to, she could also become a part of that community and she could share her stuff there and she could tap into a very large community of ASMR viewers on Reddit, as an example. So it really comes down to your content and who the right fit is for your content. But none of the shortcuts work. I just want to remind you of that. So, I understand the idea of promoting your content, but you have to do it the right way, because promotion really, it's just marketing, right? You're just getting your content in front of the right people. I understand that. And that's the right thing to do. But when you're doing that, you just have to do it in the right way and make sure that the people that you're sharing your content with are genuinely a good fit for what it is that you're doing. And don't try to do mental gymnastics either. Don't be like, well, technically, like I'm a vlogger, so technically I can share my stuff pretty much anywhere and they would pretty much, like it. Like, don't take that approach, right? You would, even if you're a vlogger, you're talking about certain things and you're a certain type of person, and, certain people will respond to you and other people won't. So because of that, you just have to, avoid the mental gymnastics, and you have to, just make sure that you're sharing them in the right places.
Super chat.
Super chat. Okay. Savvy Turtle, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And I think there's another one that came in too. So let me go here. Here it is. Yeah, Savvy Turtle. Okay, so Savvy Turtle has another one. Says, if D shaves his beard, we need a 2-for-1 deal. I need you to shave both live Band of Brothers thing. I'm not shaving my beard, but that would be fun. But yeah, I'm definitely not shaving my beard. My girlfriend, because she's never seen me without my beard either, she keeps trying to get me to shave my beard, and yeah, it's just not my, I like my beard. Right, that's why I have it. I'm definitely not shaving it. D might though. D might do that. Okay, so next up on our list, let's see here as I scroll down. Okay, next up on the list,
Super chat
from David Kuzamenko says, can you talk about how your channel evolved over time and the specific adjustments you made to gain momentum? Absolutely. So basically, when I first started my YouTube channel, I came onto YouTube for the purpose of collecting emails. And I didn't want to be the YouTube person. I was like, man, look at all these YouTubers doing all this stuff, and they're doing this certain thing, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to be one of those people. I'm just being honest with you. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And I had a problem there. And then I also was like, hey, you know what? What if I do upload videos and people start giving me a hard time? Or, I was already in my 30s at that time. And it's like, what if people, start saying that I'm like too old for YouTube? Or, I start getting all this hate? Or what if my videos suck and people just don't like them? And I start getting all this hate and whatever. And that actually kept me from uploading for a while. And that was part of the thing. Like, I believe that was part of that wall that I put up in terms of not wanting to be one of the YouTube people, right? Is it was like, well, it's not really that I don't want to be a YouTube person. It's more that I'm afraid that if I do start uploading videos and I do start to become a YouTube person, then I'm going to, get something negative out of it, right? That was, I think that was more the core of the problem. But basically, I did that. And like a lot of people, I didn't have any real plan, right? It was just like, hey, I heard that YouTube is a great place to collect email addresses. So I'm going to start uploading some videos there. And I did. And I uploaded a nice handful of videos. I got up to around 150 subscribers. Another content creator was crossing 100,000 subscribers at that point in time. They mentioned in one of their videos, hey, if my content's ever done anything for you, send me a video. If we like it, then we will possibly show it in our 100,000 subscriber video. So I'm like, hey, I've watched this channel. They've helped me a ton. So I'm going to submit a video here. And I'm just going to, just let them know how the channel's helped me and just my thoughts and my plans for the future and all that with YouTube. And when I did that, they got back to me really quick and they're like, hey, how you present, your camera quality, your audio quality, like, you're just getting started and you're off to a great start. So I want to work with you on another channel. And I'm like, okay, I'm in, let's do it. So I ended up working on them with another channel for about 9 months or so in terms of uploading content. And the channel was going great. It was getting momentum. All of the stuff, was falling into place. Everything was working. It was going great. But unfortunately, I couldn't handle the workload because at that time, I wasn't full-time on YouTube. I was basically uploading a lot to that channel. The content I was making took a long time to make. Plus, I had my design service I was doing with my brother, the media stuff. And with that, I just burned out. I couldn't take it. I couldn't handle the workload. So instead of saying, well, I'm just going to upload once a week and then come back to this channel and upload one here and then do the design stuff, I said, you know what? I'm going to just cut off that other channel and I'm going to come back here. And actually, Brian G. Johnson, he might be in here somewhere. He might stop by later, but I actually had a very in-depth conversation with him about this and about focus and, the power of focusing on one thing and all that stuff. I actually hired Brian at that time to help give me advice on that. And that was before we were like, like really cool, like we are now. Hey, Daniel Patel in the house. What's up, dude? But the thing with that is I just burned out and I couldn't handle it. So I came back to this channel and I started working on this channel. But when I came back, I said, okay, I'm that other channel taught me how awesome it is to have a community of people that come in and watch your videos, how awesome it is to get feedback from what it is that you're doing. And it also taught me, what the potential could be on YouTube. But the funny thing is I still didn't get it. I thought I did, but I still didn't get it, right? At that time, I might've had like 10,000 subscribers on that channel and I thought that I got it, but I still didn't get it, right? In terms of like the potential. I was just looking at the very tip of the iceberg at the time. But anyway, I came back to this channel And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna come back to this channel, then I need to be able to monetize it quickly so that I can go full time on YouTube. I can stop doing the design stuff and all that, and I can just go all in on YouTube. And when I did that, I built a website, tubertools.com, which you'll hear me mention from time to time in videos. But it's a front end store and it's a membership site. But I started offering services off of that, and I didn't have the membership site at the time. But I started offering services off of that, and I started trying to drive people there from my videos. It worked. And people quickly started going over there. People started hiring me to make the, banners and end screens and all that stuff for them. I sold packages to make it worth it, right? But I started selling packages for that, and people, started buying them from me on a regular basis. And the amount of money that I was generating from YouTube in a very short amount of time, once I came back, in a very short amount of time, started like massively outdoing the money that I was generating from other things. So because of that, I kept going down that path, but I had to start fine tuning things. So what I did in that situation is I said, okay, well, all the videos that I'm going to make are going to be for people that make videos. I still wasn't on the YouTuber thing yet, but I was like, all the videos I'm making are going to be for people to make videos so that I can send people to tubertools.com and they can download stuff for the videos there. So it's just, hey, I have a store, I have something to sell. So I'm going to, try to drive people to that thing. And I did, and it worked. And the funny thing is I got out of doing the one design thing, but I ended up being really busy with the other design thing. So that also worked against it, but it was a great bridge at the time. Now, in addition to that, at that time, I only had two channels, right? I had my channel, and then I had the other channel, this channel and the other channel. And I only had the data from those two channels. So because of that, I wasn't given like real YouTube advice yet. I was just sharing the things that worked for me. On the other channel, I was sharing things that I knew how to do. I would learn things like how to live stream, for example, so I could teach, the viewers how to live stream. But basically at that time, I still wasn't doing like YouTube help content. It was just general stuff for making videos and live streaming and all that. So after that, then while I was in that journey, people actually started first, let me back up. So then I made a video on SEO, YouTube SEO. And when I made that video, people started SEO, search engine optimization. And I had some experience with that. That's why I made that video. And I was applying it to what I was doing on YouTube, and it was working like a charm. So I made that video, and then people started asking me for more content like that. So I'm like, interesting. People like this kind of stuff. So at that time, I was like, okay, SEO, what else can I start teaching people? Let's start teaching people how I get people to watch another video. And then I start sharing like that kind of stuff. And then when I started sharing that kind of information, people started reaching out to me and asking me if I did consulting. At the time, I didn't. I'd never consulted anything in my entire life. So at that time, I was like, no. People would reach out, hey, can you, help me with my channel? I'll pay you, whatever. And I'm like, no. But then finally I responded and I told somebody, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never done that before. So it's not something that I offer. And that person was like, I'll tell you what, I'll be your first person. We can do this. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot and see what happens. And they hired me, and we ended up getting, good results for them. And then another person reached out, and I'm like, we got results for them. Let me see if I can do this again. And I did. And then I did. And then I did. And then I did. And then I did. And I did. And then what opened up for me then in that situation is that experience gave me tons of data to work with, to where I could start seeing things like, and this is why I tell you to test stuff all the time, to where I could start seeing like, hey, there's these general rules on YouTube, but then if you go outside of that and you start working within the nuance, a thing that will work on this channel won't necessarily work on this channel. A thing that works with a personality that's extremely like vibrant and like outgoing doesn't necessarily work with a channel that is like a really introverted channel, for example. So you start identifying these things that work and don't work across all these different types of channels. And then through that process, I basically just kept going through that, and that helped me just get a lot of information from my channels, plus working with a bunch of other people to figure out the things that work. And I just started sharing that stuff more and more and more as I started getting more information as well. And then through time, over the last 5 years or whatever, it's evolved into what it is now. And of course, I went through the process of getting YouTube certified and all that stuff. And I read everything that I can get my hands on and listen to everything that I can get my hands on about YouTube for the sake of having, understanding. And I test a lot as well. So hopefully that gives you some information there on that journey. Okay. So there's some super chats that came in. Yeah, Daniel. So I am doing the Rode mic today, in addition to the Shure. So basically I've got that. I've got like a little thing going on here as well. So I'm kind of upgrading the studio. So it's a little bit clunky right now. I need to fine tune it, but yeah, it's working here. I've got The only problem is triggering the buttons, the sound effects. So I got to get my my Stream Deck over here. But yeah, so I've got that whole thing going now, which is pretty cool. And for this area, I have this mic, but for the other area, I've still got this one, and I can move over there, and I can start streaming over there as well. Okay, so next up on the list, actually, let me check because I saw another super chat come in. I just want to make sure that I don't overlook that. Okay, so we got Andrew Can saying drink water. I'm going to drink coffee if that's okay, Andrew. So if you're enjoying the stream right now,
if you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So there's some super chats that came in, so I'm going to go ahead and answer these really quick. So there's actually a nice handful that came through. Let me make sure these are today. Today is what? I don't even know what today is today. Here, actually, let me refresh this page, I think. Yeah, that's what it is. I have to refresh the page. Okay, so Andrews was actually from last week. So Urban Explorer says, hey, I can't participate today. My apology. I'm building cupboards with my son, James. Awesome. Have a good time with your son, James. James, what's up? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Your dad is awesome, just in case you don't already know. Let's see here. So the next one that we have on the list, we got Daniel taken care of. We've got Savvy Turtle taken care of. Joe Armageddon.
Super chat.
Joe Armageddon says, do I grow a gaming channel with minimum resources like 2 gigabyte graphics? So how much time and effort should I put in to grow? Well, if you want to have a big YouTube channel, or if you want to, do the whole, I'm growing my influence thing, then as much effort as you can, whatever free time that you have that you're willing to commit to it, do it. Like it's like if you can commit to it and you can take it seriously and you can get it to work out for you, it can be extremely rewarding. So I really recommend that if you're like, hey, this is something that I want to turn into something, do it, right? Go ahead, commit to it and say, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to just like haphazardly do this. I'm going in. I'm committing to this. I'm going to give myself like 2 solid years to generate like nice momentum on my channel so that I can just ride that out for, quite some time. And I can learn tons of stuff in order to make sure that everything that I put out is a good fit for the audience that I'm in front of. Also, I want to say really quick, if you haven't yet, make sure that you give this video, this live stream, a thumbs up, so that when people are coming into the stream, they can know that it's worth worth hanging out, worth listening to as well. And if you're enjoying this, also just give me a hashtag yes or a hashtag no or a hashtag meh, just so I can know how you're feeling. Okay, so next up we've got Innerman Arts.
Super chat.
Innerman Arts says, how do I prevent a vid from flopping? I spent a lot of time editing my latest video. I know I'm not entitled to anything, just curious. Okay, yes, that's good. So basically, okay, so we've got yes. Okay, great feedback. Awesome. Fantastic. Makes me feel good. We got a meh in there. I knew it was going to be in there. We got a couple of mehs. Okay, that's cool. I'm working for it. I'm trying here, trying to earn your meh to get it to a yes. That's what I'm going for. By the end of the stream, I hope I can convert your meh into a yes. And if there's any no's that I didn't see, I hope I can convert your no to at least a meh. So in terms of the growing your gaming channel with the resources, I already did that one. So in terms of preventing a video from flopping, so preventing a video from flopping is the skill of learning how to make videos that people respond to. And I know that sounds kind of like a out type of answer, but it's legit. So when you are first getting started on YouTube, most content creators, and if you're new, just give me a hashtag yes. Give me a hashtag new. Sorry, give me a hashtag new just so I can know that you're new. But when you're first starting out as a new content creator, you're coming onto the platform, you're comparing yourself against all of these other channels that you see with all these like high quality productions, multiple cameras, stuff like that. And, where things look great, they sound great and all of that. And you're comparing yourself against all of that stuff. And you are also, while you're doing all of that, you're also learning how to write titles. You're learning how to make better content. You're learning how to get people to engage more. You're learning how to be more consistent. You're learning how to get your workflow together. You're learning how to edit better. You're learning how to present the information or to present yourself better. You're learning how to be more engaging in the actual videos themselves if you're on camera. If you're an animator, your animation skills, you're developing those and you're getting better. And you're starting to learn, hey, when I make these videos about animation, when I animate this type of thing, people share these on Reddit like crazy. So I'm going to keep making a bunch of these so that people will keep sharing them for me, right? But what happens is when you're first getting started, like a lot of people have videos that flop, so to speak, in terms of, you publish it and then, it might get some views in it and then it just dies. And you might look at that as like, oh, this is a failure, right? This video is a complete failure because it got some views, but then it just died on YouTube. And some content creators that don't know any better, they'll also say things like, YouTube isn't showing my videos to anybody, or YouTube hates me, or YouTube, doesn't want people to see my videos, or YouTube's holding me down in some way. But that's not how it works. So basically, as you're going through this process of going through all of these things as a new content creator, and it looks like there's a bunch in here, as you're going through all these things as a new content creator, then what's happening is you are also developing your skills with every video you upload. So when you do upload a video and it flops, don't look at it as a flop. Look at it as like, okay, that didn't work. Now I gotta try to figure out why it didn't work. Does my title suck? Does my thumbnail suck? Is it not really clear who the video is for? Did they just not respond to the actual video content? Maybe they clicked on it. Maybe the outside was great, but once they actually got to the video, did they not respond to it well there? Topically, was it a good topic, right? Was it something that people actually care about? So because of that, if you have videos that flop, don't look at it as something that's bad. Just look at it as, I still have more skills that I have to develop. Now, with that said, people look at flops in different ways. So, my version of a flop, in terms of what I think a flop is, might be different than your version of a flop. So because of that, you also have to think like, okay, if I'm publishing videos and they're just not doing what I expect, because that's where the flop is, right? It's lower than your expectations. If it's not doing what I expect, then that means that I have to, it's not that YouTube is holding me down. It's not that people don't like it's people aren't responding to your content, but it doesn't mean they're not going to like your content. But what it really means is I have more work to do. Because right now, people aren't responding to this in the way that I want them to respond. In order to get them to respond the way that I want them to respond, I need to get better at a few certain areas and what it is that I'm doing on YouTube. That might be making better titles. It might be making better thumbnails. It might be making better video content. It might simply be that you need to learn how to grab people's attention better when your video first starts so that they don't leave, right? So the process is more about skill development and building a content library. It's more about that than it is just having like winning humongous videos every single time. Now, in addition to that, it's also important to know that even though a video might flop right out of the gate, doesn't mean it's going to be a flop. So you'll commonly see people talking about how, they published a video and it sucked right out of the gate, but then it ended up driving tons of traffic, tons of subscribers, tons of views to their channel. So it's just important to know that if a video flops right out of the gate, doesn't mean it's gonna suck, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to not ever do well. So just keep that in mind as well. But to keep a video from flopping, you got to think of who it is that you're making it for. You got to think of the topic of the video itself, right? Topic, title, thumbnail. You got to think, okay, with the topic, what is it that this video is going to be about that there's a large amount of interest in right now? So even if you're vlogging, right, then you would have to think, okay, well, how can I frame this video around something that people actually care about so that people will want to click on it? Just saying, like, oh, my trip to the store, it's not enough because people don't know who you are yet. You don't have that core audience that's going to come in and give YouTube the data they need to show to more people and so on. So because of that, you have to think, okay, what can I do from the outside? What can I do with the topic of the video to make it something that people would actually care about? And then from there, what can I do with the title and thumbnail in order to make it clear who it's for and in order to make it clear that this is something that they should care about as well and to click on it? And then what do I do with the actual video content in order to make sure I'm delivering on the topic and the thumbnail and title so that when they do click on it, that I'm meeting, as the creator, I'm meeting the expectation of the viewers. Because here's the thing, guys. When it comes to YouTube, like it's about the viewer. It's not about us, right? Like we're content creators and we love making content. We love putting information out there. We love doing our thing, but it's about the viewer. Everything is about the viewer. If you want people to watch your stuff, if you want to grow your YouTube channel, it's about them. It's not about us, right? So of course, there's going to be people that, enjoy you and they love your personality. And there's nuances that you can do within that to help people connect to you and your content and all that, which is important. However, they don't know any of that until they actually click on what it is that you're doing and until they actually enjoy your content. right? So when it comes to, thinking like, okay, well, I need to make sure that, I'm doing all of these different things. First, you got to get people to click. If you can't get people to click, then none of those things matter. So in order to get people to click, it comes down to the topic that your video is about, how you're doing your thumbnail, and how you're doing your title. Everything else will fall into place if you can get people to click, because then you can get people to click, then you're going to start seeing how people respond to your videos. And when you can see how people respond to your videos, then you can start making better videos as well. And then you can start, doing all of the nuanced things in order to help people connect to you more and things like that. So, so just keep all that in mind. Let's see here. We had another one come in here from Thomas Wicker.
Super chat.
Thomas Wicker says, how do you determine if a niche is too small? My channel is based on the user experience design field, and I often question if there's enough room in the niche to grow quickly and efficiently. So quickly is, one thing, because that's also perspective, right? When it comes to your niche, first I would look around and see if there's any big channels. If there's any big channels, if there's one big channel, and big is based on your perception of what you think big is. But if there's one decent sized channel or one big channel around what it is that you do, then the potential's there. If there's not, you might be that person that is, that is going to step into that role. However, in terms of researching it, if there's nobody else making the type of content that you make, which I'm sure there's people making content like you are, just like UI stuff. But if nobody is making that type of content, then you have to be the one to test the water, but also look for things like, are people going to school for this? If they are, then there's a really good chance that if it's an offered course somewhere, it's an offered course because people are taking the course, right? If there's anything, if there's magazines about it, if there's podcasts about it, or any other type of media about it, but it's just not on YouTube yet, then you might be that person that actually brings it onto YouTube and can be successful with it. So what you have to do is you just have to look just general interest about that particular thing that you make your videos about, which is in your case UI, which I know, like, there's things like Figma, for example. There's companies built around, building user interfaces. So because of that, like, there's plenty of people in UI. You just have to go through that process of learning how to get those people that are into UI to know that you exist, and then click on your stuff and enjoy it once they do know that you exist. Playing with Michelle.
Super chat.
Says, hitting 2,000 subs any day now, and I know that I could not have done it without you. Thank you. Michelle, congratulations. High five and fist bump to you for crossing 2,000. Just grinding away. I absolutely love it. Nice work. Absolutely love to see it. Let's get a hashtag nice work so that that's just awesome. So absolutely love seeing the different milestones that people cross here. And another cool thing too is because, people are hanging out in these live streams, right? And they hang out, over a period of time. And one thing that's really, really awesome for me is watching people come in and watching people, take the information and apply some of it, not apply some of it, but people come in and they apply, or they don't, but they apply, some of the information or all of the information. But just watching people come in and, start out, and then they go through the process, and then they end up crossing all these milestones. It's so cool. Like, from my perspective, right? Like, it's just awesome watching people hang out in the live streams. And those of you that hang out here on a regular basis, and you have been for a long time, like Paul Peck, for example, right? Like, for him, he's also seen a lot of people come through these streams that they come in, they're just kind of getting going, and then, they end up, crossing some like really nice milestones with what it is that they're doing. But that's a really, really awesome part of, what it is that I do, is watching people, go through what it is that you're going through, Michelle. So high five and fist bump to you for making that happen. ASMR Dream More. This is a pod mic. So I got this when I got the Procaster. I typically don't use it. I was going to use the Procaster because I have like a handful of Procasters. I was going to use that, but the Procaster is like this long. And I was like, you know what, this will take up, less space. So I'll just go ahead and use this, because for this particular view, I don't want a big, honking mic sticking off of here. Technically, I could do it this way. And then you wouldn't be able to see, the length of the mic as much, in terms of the space that it takes up. But I figured that, I'd roll with this one. Plus, gives me a chance to use it. All right. So let's see here. Next one that we have here is from the Artistic Purr. Artistic Purr says, how far do you niche down? Is it enough to niche down to say art tutorials, or should it be niche down more, for example, like watercolor tutorials? So that comes down to what it is that you're trying to do. So for example, if you are Like if your thing with YouTube is to position yourself as just like a highly skilled artist across the board, then of course you'd want to flex those skills, right? If your goal of your channel is to, showcase your art and sell your watercolor paintings, then in that case, then you would definitely want to niche down into watercolor for that situation, so that anybody that's looking for anything related to watercolor would run into you. If you're wanting to teach people how to paint watercolor, then of course, in that case, niching down to watercolor is where the value would be there for you, because that would help you reach your goals faster, because every single person that clicked and watched one of your videos would be a candidate for what it is that you're trying to bring attention to. Now, if you were trying to just teach people about art in general, and you're trying to create a bunch of different things that you're trying to teach people how to do, then in that case, going with a wider net, like, hey, I'm going to teach people how to paint with pencil, or how to gotta have a coffee. Paint with a pencil. Yep. Yeah, it's the kind of, that's where my brain's at right now. We're painting with pencils on Nimmin Live, just in case you didn't know. But yeah, so basically, if you are trying to teach people how to draw with a pencil, then, if you're trying to teach people that, and then, watercolor, and then, pastels, and, all that stuff, or oil paint, whatever, then in that situation, then you want to go with a wider net. So what you need to do is you need to think about, what is it that I'm actually trying to do with the channel? What is it that I actually want from this? And then you cater what it is that you're doing towards what it is that you want. Because as I just listed out, like there's different approaches that you take in order to do specific things. If it's like, hey, I just love my community, and I just want to, make art with other people that just love making art, and I just want to connect with other people that are into art, that's fine. Then in that case, you would open it up and you just, try to connect with people that are into different types of art for the sake of, creating that community around what it is that you're doing. So it really comes down to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You got to think of that first, what it is that you actually want out of the YouTube channel. And this is a thing that a lot of YouTubers don't identify for a long time. I shared some of my journey earlier here in the stream, if you're around for that. And, I was the same exact way. When I first came on the platform, I was like, I'm collecting emails. That's like all I know. And, I didn't have anything else outside of that I had, planned. But as soon as I applied a plan to what it is that I was doing, and I decided, hey, I'm making videos for people. I'm making videos for people who make videos so that I can bring attention to a store. Then in that case, then it completely changed, the approach that I was taking here as well. And as soon as I started fine tuning that based on the things that the audience was wanting from me, then things really started accelerating, because YouTube actually tells us, I'm going a little off topic from your question here, but YouTube tells us that the algorithm follows the audience, which means that as people are responding to your content, the algorithm responds by finding other people that are similar to that particular audience, because if they identify people enjoy it, then they find more people for it. So that's why it's so powerful when it comes to niching down, because if you were trying to just connect with people that are into watercolor, and you have a bunch of different things that you're wanting to do around watercolor long term, then what you do in that situation is you just collect an audience of people that are into watercolor, and then after a period of time, once YouTube identifies that those people dig your stuff, then they go out and they find other people that are also into watercolor, that keeps bringing them into your channel, which kind of accelerates everything that's happening towards whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. That's interesting. So ASMR Dream More says, things became complicated since I found your channel. Too much information. Yeah, it says, but I guess this is how it should be. Absolutely. So here's the thing. And here's what I recommend everybody. So ASMR Dream More, she has an established channel already. She's already got, play button and all that good stuff. She gets, a lot of views on everything that she's doing, already established. And she's saying that, listening to all this stuff, also gets complicated. And if you're new, I just want you to take that into perspective, right? So like in her case, she's saying that, everything became complicated because then you got to start thinking about all these other things. And if you're new, she's already experienced, and she's saying that as well. And I know too, with my channel, I know that everything's complicated. That's why I try to share as much information with everybody as I can, because, as you're going through this process, it's important that if you want to accelerate everything that all this stuff. But one of the things that I really encourage everybody to do is not to get overwhelmed by the information, because it's easy to do because there's just so much stuff. But try not to get overwhelmed by the information. Instead of thinking, hey, I just watched Nick's video, and Nick's video or his live stream, and he has all of these different things that he says that I need to focus on these different things I need to make sure that I'm doing. Instead of thinking from that perspective, think, okay, from this live stream, I'm going to write down like 2 things. And for the next like 2 to 4 weeks, I'm going to focus on just those two things and getting really good at those two things and fine tuning those two things and identifying or defining those two things, so that you can basically step through each thing that you have to, each thing that you need to apply to what it is that you're doing. But in her case, she had that success before she even ran into my channel in the first place, right? So she was already doing well. And then, we just threw a, complication on top of it. But if she, also applies the stuff, then, of course she's going to, accelerate things on what it is that she's doing as well. So, if you're new, I just want you to take that perspective and, don't give yourself a hard time if some of the things that, that we talk about here in the stream and in the videos seem overwhelming, or it just seems like, not overwhelming, but if it just seems like a lot of info, just know that you're not alone, right? Because there is a lot of stuff to learn. As an example, YouTube has, and I have a link to it in the description, but YouTube has something called the YouTube Creator Academy. And with the YouTube Creator Academy, it's pages and pages and pages and pages and pages worth of stuff about, hey, this is just the best practices. They don't even get into like strategy or anything like that. It's just like, like base level, like, hey, this is kind of, the way that you do this. But they don't get into like the weeds, or not the weeds, but they don't get into like the details, because the weeds would be the other direction. But they don't get into the details of all the stuff that you get that helps, move things along faster. So yeah, it's just don't be overwhelmed is what I'm getting at. Okay, so Asia Coffee says, hey, Nick, my published schedule is bi-weekly, but I've been uploading weekly to experiment to see if I gain more subs. Will this hurt my channel? No. So as long as people are responding to that weekly content, you're fine. And they, like bi-weekly and weekly, depending on the type of content you make, but for most types, uploading weekly is what you want to be doing anyway, if you can work it into your schedule. A couple of reasons. One, every single video that you put out, then you are giving yourself a chance to make better content, because the more content you make, the better you get at it, as long as you're paying attention. In addition to that, that also gives you more chances to create content that people respond to well, that ends up bringing a lot of traffic into your channel, because in a lot of cases, it just takes a nice handful of videos to really drive a channel and really get a channel kicking. So you are increasing your opportunity for that to happen. But that also helps you really fine tune what your audience responds to faster. So if you were doing a video every other week, and then now you're doing it weekly, then every single week you have new data to work with based on how people are reacting to what it is that you're doing. So you can make adjustments quicker, so that you're going to be able to get the results that you're actually after here on YouTube faster. So that's a win, uploading weekly instead of bi-weekly. All right. Let's see here. Next up on the list here, okay, we got Artisan, and then we got Neil. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into the form, and we are going to pull the other one. So just as a heads up, I'm pulling questions out of the form that's down in the description below. So if you have a question, make sure that you put it down there. And just as a heads up, if for whatever reason, if we don't get to your question here during the live stream, and I say we, but if I don't get to your question here in the live stream, I save all of these, and these are where videos come up, video ideas come up with podcasts. Come from some of these, and things like that. So even if I don't answer it here, there's a chance that it might come up in a video and things like that. So if you have a question, make sure that you get it down there, so I can, make sure to, try to solve that for you. Next question is from the Fat Guy. Fat Guy says they do a daily vlog. Goal of the channel is to build a community around weight loss in an effort to keep myself and others accountable. Question. I just want to take a moment to thank you and Dee for all the hard work that you both put in. Also wish to shout out to everyone here. You are all awesome. Keep up the good work. So the Fat Guy says you are all awesome. Keep up the good work. Gave some kind words for Dee and I as well. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you are enjoying the content. Glad that you're getting value from it as well. Plus, I just want to say, like, as somebody that's lost a ton of weight before as well, I lost 100 pounds. So a lot of people probably don't know that's watching the stream right now, but I lost 100 pounds. I've since gained back probably, 25 or 30 of it, but I lost 100 pounds, and it's a heck of a journey, and it's a lot of work involved and things like that. And the fact that you are helping people, do that, it's absolutely awesome, because you've lost weight too, so already, but like that whole thing, definitely changes your entire life experience. So high five and fist bump to you, the Fat Guy, for being on that mission to help others not only do it, but to also just be accountable so that they can maintain that weight loss as well, because that's another part of the battle. There's the losing it, and then there's the actual keeping it off side and being mindful of what it is that's going on. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. and say that you're doing awesome things too. Okay, so next up, we've got Life with Lonnie. Life with Lonnie says they do vlog content. The goal is to be a successful content creator. And the question is to do embedded autoplay videos on websites counts. You don't have to answer, read this part in the air. Oh, okay. So the embedded autoplay videos on websites count as views. They do. But on some of those, like if you embed a video, for example, like you're not going to be able to see some of the data for it because they're just watching it right there on the site. But you know, they do count as views if people are coming in and watching them. Sunny Vibes says they upload 1 week or more, and they do relaxing music / nature sounds. And the goal of the channel says, I wish to put my audio skills into action and make a good sound income if possible, since I already have a full-time job. That's the goal. And the question is, since I'm a YouTube student, I'm changing thumbnails and tags and titles quite often. Is this messing with the algorithm? How much a creator should mess up with this channel? Many thanks. Okay. So if you are changing your thumbnails a lot, right? Then in that case, if you're changing your thumbnails and titles a lot, pick one or the other. Karma Cashflow in the house. What's up, dude? I'm going to be on Karma's channel here, I think next week. So definitely click on his name. Make sure you subscribe to his channel if you're into like income-based content and how to like amplify your income, so to speak. And that's kind of Brian G's tagline on another channel. But you know, if you're into that sort of thing, click on his channel, because we're going to be talking about YouTube and all that stuff on his channel here this coming week. But basically, when it comes to your audio skills and, you know, generating income from it, first, make sure that you already have stuff to sell, because if you're uploading videos right now, you're creating a back library of content, and you want that back library of content to work on your behalf all of the time as your channel grows. So that's number one. But two, when you're changing your titles and your thumbnails a lot, what you're doing, if you're changing your thumbnails, like that's fine, because, you know, if that's not something that is, I mean, it like that's going to dictate how people interact with things. But if you're changing your title and your thumbnail, you don't know which one would be causing the gain or loss. So it's really important when you're testing stuff to focus on one thing, test that one thing, and then move on to another thing. So for example, you could have a winning thumbnail, but then you change your title, and since they work together to get the click, you have that great thumbnail and you had a good title, or you just had a lame title, and then you changed it and it got even lamer. And then now your thumbnail seems like it's also not as good because the title is now not complimenting it in any way, shape, or form. And then you change your thumbnail, and when you change your thumbnail, then you took out that thumbnail that was initially good. But what you really should have done in that case is update your title. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to change things a bunch. I recommend that you publish a video and you commit to your title and your thumbnail, and you ride that out for like a 3 to 4 month period. And the reason that I recommend that is because sometimes you can publish a video, and I talked about this earlier, sometimes you can publish a video and that video doesn't do great out of the gate, but it ends up doing fantastic later down the road. So because of that, if you're in there changing things all the time, you never give it the opportunity to do fantastic, because what you're doing is you're changing it so much that people are going to be responding to it differently as YouTube's showing it to different people, and you don't ever get any real data on how people are actually responding to one or the other if you're changing them all the time. So because of that, I recommend that you make a change and you let that change sit for a while. And when you change something, change it once. So as an example, if you're using TubeBuddy, just test your thumbnails, right? Just test your thumbnail and just focus on that. When it comes to messing with your titles, do that after it's been like 3 months, maybe even 6 months, depending on how much traffic you have coming into your channel and how fast you can collect information. But the idea is that you don't want to mess with your stuff too much, because if you mess with it too much, then you're messing with how people respond to it, and you might be starting to develop that audience where YouTube's like, hey, these people are starting to respond to it, let's start showing it to more of them. And as soon as their system identifies that, you change something up, and you end up kind of starting back at square one, so to speak. So testing is important, but test one thing at a time and give it some time to actually work and get some real information on how it worked out. All right. Professor Nez in the house. Professor Nez in the house. What's up, dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing wonderful. Hope everything in life is good. I know it is. You're a positive dude. You're a happy guy out there putting good in the world, so I know life is good. I know it. Okay, so next up, we've got Paroxys. Paroxys says they do commentary and gaming content. The goal is to entertain people. And the question is, what is the best screen recorder and editor for PC? Great question.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Okay, so when it comes to the best screen recorder, of course, it comes down to personal preference, but I can tell you right now that Camtasia is amazing. So Camtasia is what I use for all my screen recording, and it's great. So I recommend Camtasia. Stand by Camtasia. It's not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, but Camtasia is awesome. So I definitely would put Camtasia at the very top of that list. In terms of the video editing software itself, I use Vegas. I can also use Premiere. Vigard, who edits my videos, he uses Adobe Premiere for editing. Daniel Batal, who's in the chat right now, or at least he was, he uses Filmora for all of his stuff, and he does some amazing stuff in Filmora, which ends up costing you a lot less. If price is an issue, it ends up costing you a lot less because it's like a one-time thing instead of like a subscription that you would pay for Adobe, for example. They also have like free ones, like DaVinci Resolve, made by Blackmagic, who makes this ATM Mini. But with DaVinci Resolve, the thing with them is it's free. And you can just try it out and you can use it for free if you want to. And then you would just have to pay for a screen recorder in that situation. But when it comes to Camtasia, if you want to, if you're just on basic edits, then you can even fully edit your videos in Camtasia as well. So because of that, I recommend that you give Camtasia a shot. Okay, so next up on our list here, we've got Insane McLean.
Super chat.
Hey, what's up, man? Says it's Insane McLean says, motivate me, Nick. All right, well, motivate you. So I was driving the other day, and I was actually driving in the rain, and I was listening to the Interstellar soundtrack. I don't know if you're familiar with the Interstellar soundtrack, just let me know, Hans Zimmer. But I was listening to the Interstellar soundtrack, and I had one of those moments, and let me know if you've ever had a moment like this. But I had one of those moments to where I was like driving in the rain, and like the rain's like beating down on the windshield, and I just had the Interstellar soundtrack just blaring, right? It was just blasting, and it was epic, and I felt epic, and everything felt awesome. And then for a moment, I thought to myself, like, how incredible is it to be able to just have this experience, but also to be able to have like all of the experiences that we get to have and all of the opportunity that's in front of us for everything it is that we do. And there's some people that don't tap into any of that. Like, they're not paying attention really. They're just kind of coasting through, and they're not paying attention to just how amazing it is that we even exist in the first place. But even on top of that, they're not tapping into all of the amazing opportunities that are out there for us, not just on YouTube, but everything in terms of the opportunities for friendships, the opportunities to meet new people, the opportunities to, have your, to exercise if you want to, and have your, body like the fat guy, have your body go into, have your body the way that you want it to. If you want to, you have the opportunity to do that. You just have to put in the work for it. Same thing here goes with YouTube or doing anything on the internet or even out in the world, in terms of all of the amazing opportunities that are available to us. And in my opinion, I think that you, Insane McLean, should tap into as many of those opportunities as you have in terms of, YouTube, of course, but also just in life in general. I'm pretty sure you have a son, I believe, if I remember correctly. And, like in that case, just observing, if you're not already, just stopping and observing those moments where you are, you're hanging out with your son. And instead of like doing whatever it is that you're doing, just stopping for a second and just appreciating that moment, which I know it's not really motivational, so to speak, but, I just think that it's important that from time to time that we just kind of take a break and just kind of pump the brakes for a second and just take a moment and just realize like, wow, like I'm sitting in a room right now and I've got these like lights on. I've got, all these awesome people on the internet that are sitting here like watching this thing, and, I'm healthy right now. And, like I have coffee at my disposal, right here, and all this like cool tech that I can play with, like 100 years ago, like this wasn't available. None of this stuff was even possible, and 50 years ago, most of this stuff wasn't possible. And if it was, it was extremely expensive, at that point in time. So it's like we have it so made right now, and people get I'm about to go way off here on this, so I'm just going to stop myself. But like, we have it so made right now, so everybody should be tapping into like all the awesomeness that comes with all of this that's at our disposal right now in terms of like technology, in terms of like information, in terms of the opportunities that we have. Like, everybody should just take a moment to, one, just appreciate that we have all of that, but also to like tap into it, you know, say, you know what, all this stuff is at my disposal. So I'm going to, you know, I'm going to take all this stuff and I'm going to try to do something awesome with it. So not fully motivating, but just a little bit of that stuff that I thought I would share since you kind of opened that avenue. So thanks for that. Okay. So, and I wanted to share about that moment too. I almost tweeted about it because it was like one of those things to where like in my brain, I was like, man, this is just so cool. You know, the fact that we exist and that we have this moment in time that we can just be aware about, you know, what's happening, whatever the life experience is. It's just that we can just take that moment and have that, you know, just that just like, wow, I have the opportunity to look at a mountain or to look at an ocean or to watch people interact with each other or to enjoy the taste of a coffee or a donut or, you know, whatever it happens to be. Like, it's just, you know, something that, you know, that I think everybody should just stop when they get the chance and just make sure that they, you know, tap into that sort of thing. Okay.
Super chat.
ASMR Dream More says, how much money so that you'll stop using the music coffee or change it? Nice. Well, you'd have to pay to have a new one made because I had to pay for that. So you'd have to pay to have a new one made. And I would have to approve it, of course. And it would have to be, you know, better per my taste on that particular one. So not only would it cost money, but it would cost time and effort of putting the whole thing together. And it would have to be the same exact voice as well. So Travis MVP in the house, MCP, but in our world, he's MVP, most valuable player, Travis MVP. What's up, dude? I hope that you are doing fantastic, man. I hope that you are awesome. I'm here showing off today. In addition to the normal thing, I got a whole new thing set up over here. Got the ATM Mini to where I can switch between cameras and stuff, trying to level up stuff here at home. Since we got, we got it all cool in the studio, but now, I got to try to make it, I got to try to get it all cool here as well. So glad that you are stopping by. Glad that you are enjoying the stream. Thanks for the kind words on the crispy. All right. So next question that we have here in the form is from Proxys. Did I get that one already? We did. That was the screen recorder. Okay. So next one up here in the form is from Fanny Plays. Fanny Plays says they've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do Android, or they have an Android. The content is gaming content. The goal is getting 1,000 subscribers. Getting 1,000 subscribers and becoming known for stuff. And the question is, the best game to make videos on a phone? I don't know. I wish I could help you with that, but I'm not like a phone gamer per se. So because of that, I'm not really the right person to answer that question in terms of the best game to make videos on a phone. In terms of apps, if you have an iPhone, I would use Video Leap. If you have an Android device, I would use KineMaster or VLLO, however you say that. All right. Next question that we have here on the list is from Mextra. Mextra says they do gaming and gaming news. Ladies and gentlemen, today in gaming, this is what we have. We have Malexa, I think was the name. Mextra. Ladies and gentlemen, today in gaming news, we have Mextra. So Mextra says the goal of the channel is to inform people about the latest news on Warzone. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Mexa informing you of the latest news on Warzone. Today, when it comes to Warzone, we had one person go after another person. They were trying to take this hill. They just couldn't make it. Thanks for stopping by. And the question is, how do I get more consistent amount of views per video? Keep uploading content, keep making content that your viewers love, in terms of, like they keep, coming back because they keep enjoying your content. So that's one of the other advantages, because we've been talking about niching down a lot during the stream. That's another advantage of niching down, is it can also help your view count. Because if you are doing what you're doing, where you're making, news content, then over time, it might not be happening as fast as you would like right now, but over time, you're going to become a resource for gaming news. So because of that, over time, as more and more people start coming into your content and they start enjoying it, you are going to be a resource for them about gaming news. So when you upload videos, they will come in and watch. So when it comes to getting more views per video, it comes down to the topics in terms of the specific things that you decide to cover with your news. Because I know with news, there's a bunch of different things to cover, but it comes from how you are packaging that from the outside to get people to click on it. Once they click on it, then you can give them the news, give them that thing that they came in for, but you can also keep expanding on additional news, but you got to get them to click first, right? That's why, even though, like a magazine might have a bunch of different articles on it, they'll focus, they'll put the main focus on like one thing, but then they'll have like a nice, like 3 or 4 sub things that they'll also mention on the cover, for example. So you want to focus, you want to find that main thing to focus on for your news content with every video that you put out. So that's one. And then 2, maintain your upload schedule, upload on a regular basis, and just keep putting that content out there and refining how you're writing your titles, how you're making your thumbnails, and how you're putting your videos together. And over time, people are going to keep coming back and participating in what it is that you're doing. Next up, we've got SR is live. SR is live, says that they have 1 video per week or more on YouTube, gaming content. The goal of the channel is to make a Call of Duty mobile empire. That's cool. That sounds epic. I'm not sure what's involved, but it sounds epic. The question is, hey, Nick, how to set up a new trend of a game? I want Call of Duty mobile, and in India, everyone plays PUBG. How can I attract them? Start making the content. In order to attract them, start making the content, make sure that every single title that you write, somewhere in the title and or the thumbnail, it's crystal clear that your content is about Call of Duty Mobile. Creative ways that creators do that is they will do things like they'll have like an actual phone cutout and they'll put their screenshot inside of the phone so that it demonstrates that it's actually happening on a mobile device. So what you need to do is you need to make it obvious from the outside that people, or make it obvious from the outside that you are making content about Call of Duty Mobile, so that other people in India that are familiar with Call of Duty Mobile, when they see your videos, they automatically know right out of the gate without having to even think about it that your video is about Call of Duty Mobile. And then they can decide to click on it from there, or they can decide to click on your title and then start, pulling the information, any additional information that you have about what the video is about from your title as well. Okay, next up on the list, we've got Static Clan. Static Clan representing in the house right here. Static Clan says that they also do gaming content. The goal of the channel is I happen to like to upload videos and I want to grow big and give entertaining content to people. The question, how do I be more original and pop out in the already very saturated gaming, as a very saturated gaming YouTuber? Okay. When it comes to standing out on YouTube, and this is going to sound just cliche as crazy, but it's true. To stand out on YouTube, the best thing that you can possibly do is be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be in terms of just taking the mask off and doing you. And what I mean by that is, and this is extremely popular in the gaming space, people in gaming think that you have to do gaming content in a certain way. Well, I have to be over the top and outrageous because these other channels are over the top and outrageous. Or I have to do it this way, or I have to do it this way. But you don't. What you need to do is you need to sit back for a second in order to be unique. You need to sit back for a second. You need to think, okay, 1, how can I just let myself out of the bag? How can I not be afraid to do anything and just literally do whatever it is that I want in terms of how I communicate with people, right? How can I be me in my communication? That comes to just stopping from time to time and just saying a joke or bringing attention to a certain thing or just leaning into the nuances of your personality and how you communicate. There's that side of things. But in addition to that, then there's the side of like, what am I actually doing in my videos? What type of content am I actually offering? Am I just doing Let's Plays? If so, everybody's offering Let's Plays because it's a low barrier to entry content. So because of that, what can I do that might require a little bit more work, but it might add a little bit more value to the community of gamers? So as an example, I know some content creators use guides as a strategy to where they'll say, okay, I'm going to do guides from time to time so that I can, do these profiles on different games or different characters in the games. And then I can share those around, or I can just publish those to YouTube. And that's some type of value to people where they can come in and they can actually learn something from that particular guide. So that's the value that they would get there. In addition to that, some people also do things to where they will show how to do specific things in a game. And they'll say things like, hey, in this game, I'm going to show you how to defeat this person, or I'm going to show you how to do this quicker, or I'm going to show you how to do this particular thing. that would be your topic, right? But then you got to think of how you're actually doing it, and you want to lean into the way that you think it should be done. Because here's the thing. On YouTube, it's really easy to copy and everybody's inspired by everything that they consume, right? So just by consuming my content, it might impact you in some way when you're making yours. Just by consuming Costume CO's content, I might, adjust how I'm doing things consciously or unconsciously based on what it is that I see in her video, right? So you don't want to copy people, and you don't necessarily want to just say, hey, they're doing this, I'm going to do this. But what you do want to do is you want to say, there's the way that things are done typically in my space. So there's the things that I think need to happen because people respond to them. But then what is it that I really want to do? How can I really deliver this content in a way that reflects me and how I do things and how I think about things and what I believe and all of that good stuff? And if you can identify those things, that will help you make content that will help you stand out on YouTube. As an example, when I first started making content for YouTube, people at the time that were making content for YouTube on like YouTube stuff, when I came into the YouTube space, I started focusing more on like YouTube and video content creators, like I talked about earlier in this stream. A lot of people in the space at the time, they were making content from a perspective of like, hey, I'm like a coach or a consultant, or I'm like a, person that knows all this stuff. And then you're, this content creator like over here. And one of the things that I did is I did more creative stuff with my content to express the content creators that I'm also like one of them, right? Like I'm not just somebody that like knows a lot about YouTube. Like I also am a creative person. I make music and I do, like this stuff. And that's why I put like the colored lights and stuff in the background and all that, because it's expressive of me and the stuff that I like and things like that. And I think that that's one of the things that helped me stand out in this space. In addition to that, I gave freely. Right. So like I've been on YouTube for 5 years. I've been sharing this type of content for maybe 4 of that, maybe 3.5, but 3.5 or 4 years of that. And I'll be 6 years actually in September. But basically, it's taken me all of this time, that entire time, to build a course. Right? To actually start, bringing attention to people in terms of like, hey, okay, yeah, I've been giving all this stuff away for free, but I also have, I'm going to have a course that people can buy as well. To where a lot of people took another approach to where it's like, hey, I'm always, trying to sell stuff to you. So, I think that, and I think that approach and me just doing things the way that I want to do them within the space helped me stand out and get a lot of attention here in this particular space, because it's clear when you watch my videos, it's clear that I approach things in a different way than other people that make content like mine. Now, with people that are doing it now, now that we've all like evolved and all that stuff, like there's a lot of crossover and things like that. However, like when I was first getting started, it was kind of done in a certain way, and then I just came in and I applied me to it, and and it worked because in my opinion, because I applied me to it. Right. So if you're doing gaming content, if you're doing educational content, if you're doing anything where you have the opportunity to cater things to your personality and what it is that you like, then I really encourage you to do that, because there's nothing that can help you stand out more than that. Right? Because you is something that people can be inspired by, but they can never replicate. They can take your video ideas. They can take somebody that I know. They make YouTube content. This just happened. So somebody that I know, they make YouTube content. They just found out that somebody else is pretty much, not word for word, but they're pretty much taking their video scripts and they're making videos just like theirs. Right? They're literally stealing their work and they're just coming on camera and they're pretty much doing the same thing. There's people that have done that with my content as well. But no matter what they do, they can't be the me side of it, right? They might be better. They might be able to do it better. They might be able to connect better. They might be able to do the version of them so that their audience will connect with them that way. But in terms of, like if every single person in this chat, regardless of the type of content that you make, if we all were to take one person out of the chat, this would actually be a fun thing to do. But if we all were to take one person out of the chat and we all remade one of their videos in our own way and did our own thing, it would all be different. And that's the thing that makes people stand out on YouTube, is the fact that, we all have the different approach to things. So what I recommend if you're trying to stand out is just be the best not the best version, but just be the version of yourself that you are. Let yourself out of the bag, because the beauty of YouTube and this whole thing is that we get to connect with people through the platform by uploading content, right? We get a lot of views over time, but the people that like hang out and stick around for periods of time and all of that, like those are the people that like dig what we do, or they like our personality, or they like our personality mixed with the value that they get from us. Because, you know, there's a lot of people that will give the same type of value that you're giving, but they won't give it in the way that you give it. And that's the thing that helps you really stand out. Mike Phillips,
Super chat.
in the house, says, hey, I miss Nick having M&Ms, and also D for M&Ms and a plane ticket. Nice. I hear you. Yes, I actually had some M&Ms last night. Actually, my girlfriend brought some home, and I was actually quite surprised because I haven't eaten some M&Ms in a while. And I was like, oh, this hit the spot. This is exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, thanks, Mike. All right. So next up here on our list, hey, Danny Hatcher, what's up? No, this isn't Catherine. This is somebody else. It was a private conversation as well. I'm sure it's happened to Catherine as well. So basically one thing that you'll see is you'll see people that come in on the platform and they'll start doing really well. And it's because they're standing out, right? They're unique and their approach is unique. So what happens is they come in, they stand out because their approach is unique, and they're, you know, being unique with what it is that they're doing. People start responding, and as soon as people start noticing that people are responding to it, instead of doing their version, which is what would make them win, instead of doing their version, they try to copy other people. Right? They try to copy how other people are doing the thing. So I guarantee you, like Catherine Manning, for example, she's awesome. And I guarantee you that because she's awesome and because she's being herself in her content, she's adding tons of value to people and it's working like a charm, I guarantee you there's tons and tons of channels that have been started that have looked at her channel and been like, I'm going to do it like Catherine's doing it. But they're not. They can't. It's impossible because only Catherine can do it like Catherine can do it. So because of that, all those people are going to put in all that effort trying to copy her, but they might get some kind of result from it, but they're not going to get the result from copying her. They're going to start getting that result when they start fading away from copying and start applying themselves to what it is that they're doing. All right. Hey, T Studio X saying that I'm new to your stream. It's nice to meet you. T Studio X, it is nice to meet you as well. Welcome to the live stream. Just as a heads up, everybody here, we're all YouTubers here. And, you know, if you're uploading content to YouTube, we all are. So, you know, feel free to network here. We don't do any type of like sub for sub or anything like that. But, you know, everybody here are people that are taking this seriously and, you know, trying to learn, you know, what it is that you got to do in order to get momentum here on YouTube, in order to, you know, make everything work out for you. So, you know, feel free to network and get to know people because, you know, if you want YouTuber friends, this is a great place to, you know, to have some YouTuber friends. So welcome to the live stream and make yourself comfortable. And I do this every Saturday too, 9 a.m. Eastern. Every other stream, one stream is like this, to where it's just me talking, and then the other stream that I do is to where it's a group stream, to where I put out a link to some trusted friends in the space, and they come in and also participate in the live streams as well. Links to them are actually the people that come on the stream sometimes. Links to them are actually down in the description of this video right now. So Grace Ventures says, hey man, love these chats, grinding to 1,000 subs. Yeah, man, keep going. Keep going, Grace Ventures. Yeah, so nice work on grinding to 1,000 subs. It's it can be a grind, you know, for sure. There's a lot to learn along the way, a lot to do along the way. So nice work. Welcome to the live stream also.
Super chat.
Let's see here. Asgard Yorkipu says, your info got me from a handful of subs to 890 in 2 months, 890 plus in 2 months. Gaming channel, just wanted to say thanks. Thanks to you. You're the one putting in the work. You're the one applying what it is that you know, the information that you get from the videos, you're taking it, and you're not doing the thing that a lot of people do, which is, hey, I just watched this video, that's enough, right? And you're not doing that. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, I watched this video, learned this thing, I'm going to take it, I'm going to apply it to my channel. And you're the one putting in the work. You're the one uploading the content. So high five and fist bump to you for, you know, for putting in the work. All right. ASMR Dream More says, my second channel just got 1,000 subscribers. High five and fist bump to you as well for your 1,000 subscriber milestone on that one. Probably feels good again, right? Hitting that 1,000. Because, you know, it's a different experience, right? Like crossing 100K or 500, you know, like it's all different than crossing like 1,000. That 1,000's exciting no matter, because it takes you into that, you know, that next realm, so to speak, you know, regardless of, you know, how many you have on the other channel. So nice work. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Playlogical Sims. Playlogical Sims says that they have a Sims gaming channel. The goal is to create entertaining gaming content. And the question is, what are the best platforms to promote my gaming content? YouTube. YouTube is the best platform to promote your gaming content. And let's see here. The rest of the question says, I currently use Reddit and Instagram. Okay, so if you have a following on Instagram, then of course those are people that are interested in what it is that you're doing. And then of course, sharing your content on your own platforms is a win. However, when it comes to just randomly promoting, Reddit can be advantageous for gaming channels, for any type of content, as long as you are putting your content in front of the right audience. But the gains, you can get huge gains off of Reddit, don't get me wrong, and other social media platforms as well. But like the real win is if you can tap into YouTube. Like the people that you are wanting to watch your videos are already here. They're already on YouTube. They're already logging into YouTube, opening up the app on their phone, looking for content to watch. They're dedicating time. I just opened this app. I'm expecting to watch some content. They're opening up the app. They're expecting to watch content just like the content that you make. So because of that, the best thing to do is to tap into YouTube and get YouTube working for you, because sharing your content is one thing. That's part of what you should do if you can identify the right people to share your content with. Now, once you're doing that, then you got to tap into YouTube, because then you have that external traffic that's coming in, but then you really need to make sure that you're making titles and thumbnails that people click on, and then you're making content that people enjoy, so that YouTube can identify that and they can start showing your content to more people that are likely to watch your content. So make sure that you're also looking at YouTube as the thing that you need to tap into. It's not about, hey, how do I, get people on Instagram to come over? It's about, I'm going to share it on Instagram on my profile, but I'm going to work really hard to get people to respond to what it is that I'm doing on YouTube. And one of the things that I mentioned in a lot of these live streams as well is, part of doing that when you're making thumbnails and titles, part of getting people to respond to your titles and thumbnails is being able to define yourself why they should click on what it is that you're doing. So when you can define why people should click on your thumbnail, you can define why people would click on your title, and you can define why people would care about the actual topic that you're making your video about. If you can define those things, then it's going to be easier for other people to define those things, or to identify them, or just to click on them. But if you can't define those things, you can't expect somebody else to automatically be able to identify what those things are in order to comprehend what's going on with your video, and then, cause you to win the click in that situation.
Super chat.
Patriarch Apprentice says that I've been watching your videos for a couple months. Appreciate it, man. Just got my 1,200 subs. High five and fist bump to you as well for crossing the 1,000 subscriber milestone. 1,200 subs. That's a lot of people. A lot of people. 1,200. One thing that's really cool also about that milestone is even 100 people. It's like if you cram, the reference I like to give with this one a lot is if you cram 100 people in the room that you're sitting in right now when you're watching this, if you cram 100 people in that room, all of a sudden 100 people is a ton, right? And it's 1,000 especially, right? It's like, hey, 1,000 people, I don't even know if they'd fit in here. So so nice work on you for crossing the 1,000 subscriber milestone. Nice work. All right, next up on our list is from Splodgeball. Cool channel name. Splodgeball says that they've been on YouTube for less than 6 months, and the channel is a domino channel. And the goal of the channel is to entertain and get popular. And the question is, my subscribers aren't coming back, so I have more new subs than views. Please, also, I have more subs than views. Please help. So I do too. So here's the thing. Not everybody that subscribes is going to watch every video. In some cases, you're going to have a lot more views than you have subscribers. In other cases, depending on your content, depending on what it is you're doing, in some cases, you're going to have more views than subscribers. In other cases, you're going to have more subscribers than views. So my channel is a great example of this. So there's a high attrition rate for YouTubers, or a high churn rate, which basically means that the people that are coming into YouTube, there's tons of people that have started channels because they thought, hey, I want to be a YouTuber, but then they quickly realize there's work involved, or that, they just can't stay consistent, or whatever it happens to be. And because of that, they'll quit, but they are still subscribed to my channel. So because of that, I have a lot more subscribers than I'll get on a typical video for that reason, because people just subscribed along the way, and then they just don't, they just don't care about YouTube anymore, and maybe they're not uploading their channel, or maybe they just don't click on those videos when they're shown to them, and they just haven't went through the process of unsubscribing. So YouTube has identified that they are not responding to my content, and they stop showing it to them. So it's part of the gig, but it really comes down to what it is that you're doing. So on the flip side of that, I've worked with, really big channels as well. And, some of them, they'll have several million subscribers, but in their particular case, they'll publish a video, and a video with 100,000 views on it's a good video. and that's way less than 1 million, right? But that's still a good video for them. A video with, 500,000 views is also like, hey, this is good. But, on a channel with 3 million subscribers or 4 million subscribers, you might think that video might be deemed as a failure because it's only got 500,000 views if a channel's got 3 million subscribers on it. But in reality, that 500,000 views is still, fantastic for one of those channels. So it's perfectly fine. The numbers go in both directions based on what it is that you're doing. Let's see here. Next up on our list, we have, I thought I saw somebody just mention something about Vid Summit. Okay, so ASMR Dream More said that something about Mr. Beast and saying that she fell in love with Mr. Beast after hearing, fell in love with Mr. Beast because of you. I keep clicking on his videos. So if you enjoy Mr. Beast's content, Daryl Eves works with Mr. Beast. He is actually a client, or Mr. Beast is a client of Daryl's. Mr. Beast is also a part of Vid Summit. Now, Mr. Beast's Vid Summit presentation went through his entire process of what he does when he's making thumbnails and when he's putting videos together and things like that. I have a link to the Vid Summit replays down in the description of this video, ASMR Dream More. So if you're interested in that and you want to hear it directly from his mouth, Mr. Beast from his mouth on what he does to get things to work on his channel, there's a link to that down in the description, or you can just go to I think it's vidsummit.tv, I think is the entry to it. And you can just go there and you can, get it through the link in the description or not. It's not an affiliate link, so it doesn't matter to me which way you get there. But if you are interested in that, or anybody in the chat, there is a link to Vid Summit, the replays down in the description below. And my presentation's in there as well. The one that I did with me and my brother this year. You get the one that I did last year as well, and a bunch of information from a bunch of different creators as well. Roberto Blake in the house. What's up, man? Yeah, Roberto's presentation's in there also. So tons of good information in that. Okay, so next up on our list, we've got, let's see here. We've got Wrecked Universe. Wrecked Universe says appropriate name for 2020, right? Wrecked Universe. Wrecked Universe says the goal is to entertain people and to help gamers. And the question is, I uploaded a video and it didn't do well. About 2 days later, it gained over 10,000 views. I checked why, and I found out that a gaming website posted a video link because what I did in that video was new. So I'm asking, how do I get the same type of views even if the website don't see it? Okay, so this is a fantastic question. It's a fantastic question because you have now identified a website that enjoys your content and that saw your video. Not only they see it, but they saw the value in it and they posted it on their website. That's a relationship. That's a contact. That's a collaboration. So what you need to do is you need to reach out and you need to make sure that you're having a conversation with that channel or with that website. So for example, if you like that shot, Mike? So for example, if you are making that gaming content on a regular basis, reach out to them and be like, hey, I make videos like this, on a regular basis. If I come up with another thing that's new, would you like me to send you a link so that you can check it out, right? You want to open that up. Another thing that you can do as well is ask them. You got to be professional when you're doing this, right? You don't want to be needy. You don't want to make it something to where they're like, oh, another person like this, right? Like you want to be cool. Reach out and be like, hey, thanks so much for, sharing my video. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. For example, you could even go a step further and you could update your video description with a link to their website. And you can be like, hey, I appreciate you linking to me. I just updated my description and I put a link to your website down there as well, letting people know that they could, see more about your written version of what it is that I'm talking about in this video. But you want to use that as an opportunity to create a dialogue with that website. Because what that does is that gives you the opportunity to be able to get your content put in front of more people when you publish. Not every video, but the videos to where you're like, yeah, this would be a great fit for this. Then, reach out to them, let them know that you have that video. But most importantly, start that dialogue, start that conversation with them. And I would go value first, always value first, right? And that value first is they shared your content. They already gave you the value. So before you even hit them up, I would update your video description and add a link to their website in the video description of that video. All right. Definitely keeping hydrated, Heidi. Definitely keeping hydrated. Okay, so let's see here. Next up on our list, we have Jashim Jalal says, been on YouTube for less than a year. The type of channel is photography, cinematography, and entrepreneurship. And the goal of the channel is to inspire creatives to reach their full potential use as a creative outlet. And the question is, what are your thoughts on YouTuber support groups and sub for sub, or not sub for sub, but building a community through watching others' videos and genuinely commenting? Okay, so I talked about this earlier, so I'm not sure if you're here for this or not. But hey, Savvy Turtle, thanks for the super chat.
Super chat.
Super sticker. But when you are like, that's not a support group. They're not supporting you. They're actually working against you and you're working against them. So here's the thing. If you have a video and you're wanting genuine feedback, publish your video to YouTube. You're going to get feedback from YouTube. You don't need those communities as your support group. Now, as you get the ball rolling and you start connecting with people that know what they're doing and they're getting results, therefore they can give you some type of actual advice that's vetted information, then in that case, then you can start creating groups to where, for example, if I'm like working on something, I'll hit up my brother. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? Or I'll hit up Brian G. Johnson. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? And I'll ask them, hey, what do you think I should think? I'll hit up Roberto. Hey, what do you think about this? And the reason for that is because they're trusted people that I know they know what they're doing. And because of that, having those people to reach out to when needed is fantastic, because then you can get feedback from them. Now, when it comes to, just random groups on Facebook and genuinely watching and what'd you say? And genuinely commenting on the video, you're working against yourself, because those people don't really care about what it is that you're doing on YouTube. All they care about is that you're going to watch their video and that you're going to genuinely comment on their video as well. So do not participate in anything like that, because you're working against yourself. The time spent doing that could be spent watching videos on how to make better thumbnails, watching videos on how to present better, watching videos on charisma on command so that you can communicate better in your videos, right? Watching videos on content strategy, watching video, not even on my channel, on whatever channel on YouTube, reading blog articles on content strategy, watching videos about video editing so you can become a bit better editor, watching videos on how to process your audio better, all that stuff. Like, that's where you should be spending your time, because all of those things help you create a better video or a better end product, or get people to click on your stuff more, or whatever it happens to be. And because of that, you get results. But when you're spending your time doing these other things because it seems easier, it's like a quick spike, right? A quick gain, but for a long-term loss. You got to think the other way around. You got to flip it. I'm going to take a short-term loss for a long-term gain. Because if I take the short-term loss, I'm not trying to take these shortcuts. What I'm doing in this situation is I'm learning to create content that people respond to. And when I do that, then YouTube's going to start showing my content to more people. And then I'm going to reap those rewards later as I focus on just continuing to keep making better and better content. But if you try to shortcut it and you're like, hey, I'll watch your video if you watch mine, then what's going to happen in that situation is people are going to come in and you're going to see, if you look in your audience retention, that those people aren't really watching your video. They're going in there, they're commenting, and they're leaving because they don't have time. If you do the math, if you're in one of the support groups, here's what I want you to do. Let's apply logic to this. Okay. Let's take the algorithm and just slide it over to the side. Okay. If you're in one of those groups, do the math. Look at your own activity. If you're in one of those groups, I guarantee you that if there's 10 videos that are 10 minutes each, you're probably not watching 10 minutes of every single one of those videos. If you are, you're wasting so much time for nothing, and you're working against that creator. If there's 20 videos that are 10 minutes or 50 videos that are 5 minutes, because everybody's like, hey, watch mine, watch mine, watch mine. Then what you're doing in that situation is you have tons of people that are just going and watching those videos long enough to comment, and then they're bouncing to another one, because the more videos that they comment on, the more people that think that they watch their video. So those are more people that are going to go click on those videos and watch their videos, which is ultimately what they're there for. They don't care about the content. They only care about the people coming in and watching theirs. They're trying to take a shortcut that's going to work against them. That's the worst thing that you can do for your YouTube channel. Please don't participate in that type of activity. Okay, next up on the list. Ram Casaro Jew says they upload every other day. Nice grind right there. It's sports content is the type of content. Says, I want to grow and make people more entertained. And the question is, I try to make the best thumbnails I can, but people aren't clicking on it and viewing it. What should I do? Keep trying to make the best thumbnails that you can. That's what you do. If people aren't clicking, you gotta keep fine tuning. You gotta keep sharpening that sword, right? If you can't get people to click now, the only thing that you can do to get people to click is to fine tune that skill of getting people to click. So if people aren't clicking on your thumbnails, and your thumbnails might be fine. It might be your titles. Your titles might be the problem. Your thumbnails might be banging, but your titles might be the thing that's like, oh, okay, I thought it was going to be this, but it's actually this, right? Your thumbnail could be the thing that's hurting, or your title could be the thing that's hurting you when your thumbnail is awesome. The topic that you're choosing to make your video about, that could be the thing that's hurting you when your thumbnail and title might be okay. There's just not a big interest for the thing that you're talking about. So what you have to do is you have to say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go through the process of continually uploading content so I can keep trying to make thumbnails that people click on. And I'm going to continue to keep writing titles and keep learning how to write titles over and over and over again. I'm going to read articles on copywriting. I'm going to watch videos on copywriting. I'm going to watch videos on sales so that I can get into the psychology of what causes people to, respond to things and things like that. I'm going to do all of that so that I can perfect this skill over time so that I can learn how to get people to click on what it is that I'm doing. That's the only thing that you can do to get people to click on what it is that you're doing, is to develop the skill of learning how to get people to click on what it is that you're doing. There's not like a magic thing that you can all of a sudden do. Okay. So just know that, if you're wanting to get results from what it is that you're doing here on YouTube, anywhere, like if you're trying to get anybody to click on anything, like you have to go through the process of learning what's required to get people to click. And that typically just comes down to knowing who it is you're trying to reach, making it obvious to them that your content is for them, and being persuasive or compelling enough to where they will want to actually click on what it is that you're doing. But instead of just looking at your thumbnail, and I know there's a lot of new people in here, that's why I'm going over this again. But instead of just looking at your thumbnail or just looking at your title, look at how the entire thing works together from the outside, right? Imagine if somebody goes onto YouTube, they've never seen your content before, they don't know who you are, and they just see your video on a homepage. How does the topic, title, and thumbnail that's there on the homepage, that's right there in front of that person, how does that tell them that it's for them? And what is it about that packaging that would cause somebody to want to click on that? You have to think from that perspective, because if you don't, then you're going to have a hard time getting people to click on what it is that you're doing.
Super chat.
Renee Ritchie, what's up, man? Says, if you have a larger niche like Apple, some videos are broad appeal, iPhone, some less, Mac watch. Are you doing and you're doing daily videos? Will you always turn off some audience, or can content mix help? So sure. Like for example, if you are doing daily content, and some of your videos are about an iPhone, some are about a Mac, some of them are about a watch. We'll just do a real life scenario, right? I just got a Mac, but I've had a watch and an iPhone for a long time. When I first got the phone, if I was subscribed to your channel and I got the phone, and let's say that when I got my first iPhone, I came to your channel because I was trying to figure out how to use it. I go to your channel and I'm like, wow, I love this, like how they communicate. Like I'm subscribed to this channel. I'm going to watch all their videos about the iPhone while I'm trying to learn how to use it. You got me, right? And then you publish a video about a watch. Well, that doesn't apply to me, right? Because I don't have a watch at that point in time. I just had the phone. And then you upload one for the Mac, right? Well, I didn't have a Mac at that time either. So because of that, the only thing that I care about on your channel at that point in time is just the iPhone content. So as I went through, as Apple slowly sucked me in over time, then, now I would be more responsive to, all the content that you put out. But at that point in time, it really came down to, or not at that point in time, but it would really come down to, what would be relevant to me at that time. So when you are putting out your content, I think that if you're covering just Mac in general or Apple stuff in general, I think it's a win. And the reason for that is because, one, it does suck people in. But two, what you're doing is you're kind of making these different pillars of content. You're targeting it towards that specific audience, but you have these different pillars to where, iPhone, Mac, and watch, so that people, whichever one that they have, if they have the phone, if they have a watch, they're going to have a phone. So you win there. But in terms of the computer versus the iPhone, you basically create two segments of your audience in that case. And then there's going to be some crossover as well, because I can't imagine that somebody would have a Mac and they wouldn't have an iPhone, maybe, but I can't imagine that they would. Like if you're going to have a Mac, you're probably going to have an iPhone too. But like the iPhone and the Mac, there's obviously going to be some space there for some people. But I think that just serving the Apple community in that situation is a really good win. Now, of course, if you wanted to niche down and just do like computer, just do iPhone, then in that case, you're increasing the chances of more people clicking on the videos when they're presented to them if they're just coming into the channel. If you have an entire channel full of, information on Macs, then in that case, your entire channel is a great resource for Mac users, which means that based on the content decisions that you make, there's a really good chance that people will click on, a lot of the videos that you upload because it's directly relevant to them as long as you nail the title and the topic of the video. But when it comes to, creating the different pillars, then you are segmenting your audience, but it's perfectly okay. Like I do that. If you look at my channel, I have mobile stuff, I have YouTube growth stuff, and then I have live streaming stuff, right? I have some motivational stuff mixed in, but it's still targeted towards YouTubers. But the whole thing is I'm serving the YouTube community and the video content creator community, but I'm serving it in different ways for different segments. For mobile creators, I got them. Live streamers, got them. People that are just interested in YouTube in general, regardless of if they're mobile, making it on a computer, or if they're live streaming, I got them as well. So, because of that, just think of it from that perspective. And in terms of like hurting, no, I think you're actually giving yourself, like a good opportunity there, because then you're still going to, make videos that will resonate with a certain group of people. But I think that in your particular situation, there's a lot of crossover with the 3 different, iPhone watches and the Macs. So I think you're okay. So I have to step away for 1 second here really quick. So I'm going to put up a be right back screen, and then I will literally be right back here in just a moment. I also want to remind you, if you are here on the live stream and you're getting value from the content, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. If you want to learn more about growing your channel, making videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss anything in the future. Okay, so now we're going to get into, get back into the form as well. So let's see, we got that one taken care of. Yeah, it was some good music, right? Just some nice, like chilling music. Nice little vibe there, a little waiting around music. Man, Tax Shack, Tom Curry, thank you. Okay, so one thing I want to bring to your attention, so glad that you mentioned that, because I meant to mention that when the stream first started, but I didn't. So a lot of you might know, I want to talk to you about something serious here really quick that might impact your YouTube channel. So basically when, in the last week, and I know it's happened to more, but in the last week, I've had, you like how I moved my TubeBuddy cup down to the area there? And then on top of that, like while I'm moving the TubeBuddy cup, you like how I'm talking about the TubeBuddy cup to even bring more attention to it. So like as an example, if I just moved it out of the way, I could have not said anything about it and some of you would have noticed, but by the fact that I'm talking about it, I'm like bringing even more attention to the TubeBuddy cup. You gotta love this stuff, right? It's just so fun. But anyway, so there's right now, the thing that I'm getting ready to talk about there is a hacking thing going around on YouTube to where a lot of channels are getting hacked. I have 2 people that I know in the last week that got their channel hacked. One of them is the Budgeteers channel. They have like 100 and something thousand subscribers. They're actually local here in Chiang Mai. And another one is John Prosser from Front Page Tech. He also got hacked as well. And I think in John's case, they even bypassed the 2-factor authentication. So I just want to remind everybody to make sure that you do have the 2-factor authentication on. There's also, and I think Roberto, I have a video in my community feed. Roberto just made a video as well, sharing even more information about this. But there's also authentication apps. I know Google has one that you can also use to add an additional layer of security to what it is that you're doing with your YouTube channel to make sure that you keep everything protected. So you also want to, Travis MVP says that he uses Google Titan Key, and that works great for him. But yeah, so there's some options out there, but what I'm getting at is you want to make sure that you are just protecting your content, not your content, but your channel. So be extremely careful. There's a lot of people, a lot of scammers that will send out emails, and those emails will be about a bunch of different things related to your YouTube channel. Some of them will tell you that you got a copyright strike when you didn't because they want you to click. Other ones will just tell you that they're a sponsor and that they want to give you this opportunity and they want to give you like a ton of money in order for you to make a video. And as a content creator, you're gonna be like, oh, wow, this is great. Finally, I got a sponsor reaching out. But what they're really doing is they're trying to get you to click on something or authenticate your channel, which basically means that you go and you sign up through your YouTube account, and they frame it around, well, you connect your YouTube account so we can see your demographics and know how much, to give you. So you don't want to ever do that. So you don't want to do that unless it's with a reputable company. You also don't want to click on anything out of your email ever for anything. Always go to the actual website. If YouTube sends you something, still don't click on it, right? If you want to click on it, make sure that you click on the little thing, open up your, click on the little down arrow and open up to see where the email actually came from, and make sure it actually came from YouTube, and pay really close attention and make sure that it's not like, spelled wrong, or make sure that there's not like a 1 after the, like one YouTube or, anything like that. Like, you have to be vigilant for the sake of protecting, all the work that you're putting into your YouTube channel. So never click on anything out of your email if you can avoid it. And if you do, just make sure that what it is that you're clicking on is officially an email, and never connect your account to a sponsor that is saying, hey, we want to, like, you don't know who we are. We have zero reputation, and we want you to click and authenticate your YouTube account so that we can, know your demographics. No, just walk away from it, right? Say, I'll send you, reply and say, hey, I would love to work with you, but I'll send you my demographics. I'll send you some screenshots. I'm not authenticating my account, right? So I just want to bring that to your attention. Just let you know right now, they are being, very, they're being sneaky. Like these scammers are being really crafty with what it is that they're doing. And unfortunately, a lot of content creators are paying the price. So just be really, really careful with what it is that you're doing. So ASMR Dream More said I had a sponsor like that last week. Yeah, well, I would go in, change your password. I would disconnect from them. You can go into your Google account, and you can actually see a list if you go into your Google account. I'm not sure how to do it on a phone. I'm sure you can. You'd have to go in desktop mode, I guess. But you can go into your Google account and you can see a list of all the things that your channel's connected to. Go through and remove any one that you don't actually need for what it is that you're doing. So just be careful out there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Okay. So next one on the list. Savvy Turtle says, I'll third party with like TubeBuddy, but no one gets direct account access, period. Yeah. And even with that, like the third party stuff, like with TubeBuddy, they're fine. They're a reputable company. They're on like YouTube's like trusted whatever list that they have, like their YouTube service directory. That's what it is. But they're there, as well. But like when it comes to like authenticating your account, you just have to be careful. Make sure it's like a reputable company. Research the company. If you're going to authenticate, research. Okay, I'm going to put in the company name, and I'm going to put in review. I'm going to put in problems. I'm going to put in scammer. I'm going to put in like those types of things so that I can confirm that what I'm getting ready to authenticate with is something that is, something that's safe. So next question that we have here on our list is we already got RAM taken care of, and I'm using the wrong mouse here. So we got RAM taken care of. Let's see here. I think. Yep. Okay. So we got RAM taken care of. Next, we are going to go for Philo Petir. Philo Petir says that they do gaming tutorials and much more. And the goal of the channel is I want to make people happy in this hard times. It's good. It's good. That's a good mission to be on. Says the question is, how can I make people happy and make my channel popular? So in terms of making people happy, motivating people, inspiring people, just giving people a way to escape is also good. So like, for example, if you are making content that's like a vlog and you're just showing people around your area and, sharing some uplifting messages through it and that sort of thing, then you are giving yourself the opportunity to make people happy. If you're helping people with anything, you're making people happy in that situation. Depending on there's a bunch of different ways to make people happy, even gaming content. With gaming content, people get to watch or learn or whatever it happens to be from watching, somebody play a game. So there's value there. So it's like when it comes to making people happy, really we can only make ourselves happy. But when it comes to, uplifting people, that's different. Or when it comes to leading people down the path that might help them make themselves happy or identify how to be happy, then in that situation, making content about that sort of thing would be the avenue for that. I actually have an entire video on another channel about how to be happy. And it's about the science of happiness. Trying to adjust this here, but basically the thing with that is you just want to make content that you think would make people happy, something that would make you happy, as an example. But in terms of making your channel popular, that comes down to making good content that people respond to. If people don't respond to what it is that you're doing, then you're gonna have a hard time. If people don't click on what it is that you're doing, they don't watch what it is that you're doing because they just can't pay attention to your video for long enough because it's not interesting enough to them, then you're gonna have a hard time. So you have to go through that process of learning how to do those things. That's why we talk about them all the time here. Next up, we've got Suha Kasarjo, and they say that they do sports. Oh, we did this one already. I went the wrong direction. Okay, so next up here, we've got T-Wars Team. T-Wars Team says it's a gameplay channel, and the goal of the channel is to make content for people to enjoy and make money. I want a gameplay, or I make gameplay. I don't teach people how to play. So how do I make them watch and click? Comes down to your title and thumbnail in that situation. Looking at your content from the outside, go and look at your videos and think to yourself, why would somebody click this, right? If you can't define this, if you can't define why somebody would click on what it is that you have, then you can't expect anybody to click on what it is that you have. You have to be able to define it. Like a lot of gamers will say something like, Call of Duty 7th, Call of Duty gameplay. It's not enough, right? Like, sure, that identifies what the video is, but you gotta add something compelling to it. Why would somebody care about just Call of Duty gameplay when they can watch a million videos on Call of Duty gameplay? Why should they care about your Call of Duty gameplay? You have to be the one to identify what that thing is and frame your entire video around that thing. Next up is Ms. the Best YT Brawl Stars. Says it's a gaming channel. I enjoy editing. I want to let my viewers learn skills from my montage videos. The question is, how do I get my videos recommended to bigger and more audiences on YouTube? Same thing applies. You got to get people to click on what it is that you're doing. You got to get people to watch your content for a competitive amount of time. What I mean by that is when you are like, I just said the whole thing about defining what it is that people would, why somebody should click on what you're doing, but it's the topic in terms of what it is that the video is actually about. It's how you're packaging that topic up from the outside to where if somebody sees it on their homepage or they see it next to a video, it's crystal clear what they should expect when they click on that particular video, right? And then once they click on the video, then you have to grab their attention in some way. And then once you grab their attention in some way, then you have to go through that process of continuing to learn how the people that YouTube is showing your content to, and that's the important part, the people YouTube is showing your content to, you got to learn how they respond to what it is that you're doing so that you can fine tune over time your response that you're getting in terms of how long people are watching your videos, how they're engaging with your content overall, so that once you get to a certain point, you're going to notice this is the acceptable level. Because if you're not getting that result right now, then you are not hitting that acceptable level yet. So you keep going through that process until you get to that acceptable level. And when you get to that acceptable level, then you'll notice, hey, I don't have to have people watch 100% of my video. If I have people watch for 60% of the time on a 5-minute video, it seems to be fine. If I have people watch for 50% of the time on a 10-minute video, it seems to be okay. And those videos will still get a lot of views on them. It's okay, right? So you get to learn that acceptable level. And then from there, with every single video, once you hit that acceptable level, every single video you make from that point on, you strive to meet or beat that acceptable level. And that's where you'll see your videos, you know, kind of going up and down. But that comes from the topics that you choose and your ability to get people to click and watch what it is that you are doing on YouTube and further engage. Now you can take this whole thing up a notch. And, you know, if you have content that would invite sharing, for example, then in that particular case, then, you know, if you also have a lot of people sharing your content, that's going to bring more people into your YouTube channel, which is going to be a plus for you. And that's going to introduce more people to your content and keep more people coming back into your channel as well. So, you know, the trick is, and this is the hardest part about being a content creator, is creating a back library of content that's big enough. That back library of content that's big enough so that when you do have somebody come into your YouTube channel, you have a lot of videos on your channel that they can also interact with, so that they can subscribe, so that YouTube can start also serving them some of that content from your back library and keep them coming back into your channel over and over again over time, with the new videos that you publish and the old videos that you have in your channel as well that have been proven performers on your channel. Next up, we've got ASMR Dream More. Thank you for the super chat.
Super chat.
Says, I do not talk random things to get noticed in comments. I don't need it. I'm just being communicative. Can you say this? Nick? I'm not trying to promote myself in any way, shape, or form. Boom. Yeah. So basically, in terms of, I think what you're saying is that you don't say random things to get noticed in comments. I don't need to be noticed, I think is what you're saying there. I'm just being communicative. Yeah. Absolutely. Just said it. But yeah, so that's, I think what she's saying, I think what she's saying is that, you know, she's not commenting anywhere here or anywhere else in order to grab attention. She's just being, you know, she's just communicating just like everybody else in the chat. I think that's what you mean by that. Okay. So next up on the list is, let's see here. Industry Tours. Industry Tours says that they do videos about industry, and the goal of the channel is to bring knowledge to people. And the question is how to maximize the concept and grow this channel, and tips specific for my concept. Okay, so when you say that you talk about industry, I'm not sure of like the specifics of what it is that you're doing. In terms of maximizing the concept, you got to think about people, think about yourself, right? What are you interested in? What, you know, what is it that's so interesting about industry that motivates you to make a YouTube channel about it? Think of what all of those things are and make content about all of those things, because all of those things are going to be the things that other people who are interested in industry are going to also care about if it's something that you care about. Not everybody that's interested in industry is going to care about all of those things, but you're going to be able to create content that people that are interested in industry do care about, because you clearly care about it enough to make a channel about it. And by doing that and making a channel, then you are creating content that other people that care about industry as well will also care about. So because of that, just make content that you enjoy about industry, and you will have people come in. Now, in terms of growing the channel, in that particular case, what you want to do over time, and this applies to everybody. If you're watching this right now, this applies to you. But what you want to do over time is you want to identify that I'm putting out content, and out of all the content that I'm putting out, let's say I put out 30 videos. Out of those 30 videos, which videos did better? And then you want to start saying to yourself, okay, these videos did better. So out of these videos that did better, why do I think they did better? Was it because of the specific thing that this video happened to be about? Or was it about, was it because like, I think that this thumbnail grabbed their attention more? If so, was there any similarities between the thumbnails with the ones that people responded to better? Or was it the title? Do I think it was the titles? If so, was there any similarities in the titles? Was it the actual content? Did the video just do well because people just responded to it overall? So it might not have necessarily been the thumbnail or the title, but the entire thing, the entire piece of content, your topic was good, the thumbnail was good, the title was good, enough to get people to click on it, and then they watch the video, and they watch the video for a fair amount of time. They got a good experience out of it. So because of that, YouTube showed it to more people, they responded, and so on and so forth, right? So you have to be able to identify those things, but you have to pay attention to your content, and you have to pay attention to the things that people do respond to, so that you can start trying to figure out why they're responding to those particular things, okay? And then what you do in that case is you start noticing, videos about this people respond to better than videos about this. So then I'm going to lean on the stuff that people respond to more and do less of, still do it if you want to, but do less of the stuff that people respond to less, more of the stuff that people respond to more. Okay, let's see here. So getting jiggy with it. Sorry, getting jiggy with it says, left a forum post 2 hours ago. Not sure if missed. I'm not sure either. So basically, if you want to get jiggy with it, if you just want to go ahead and ask here, anybody, like if you have something in the form, because I answer those in the order that they come in, but if you have something that you put in the form, if you make a post like that, just go ahead and put your question in there too, so then I can just answer it directly. Because now, like right now I'm here in the chat, and then I see Thomas's down here, and then I see Savvy Turtle also just posted one. So I'm going to be slowly moving down. So it's going to take me a minute to get down to the response from me asking what it was here that I missed. So this is fine, but I'm just saying like anytime that you post that for the form, just go ahead and post a question in there so that I can make sure to just go ahead and answer it for you. But if you just want to post here really quick, if you just want to post what your question was, just post it right here in the chat. Don't worry about the form. Just post it right here in the chat, and then I'll answer it since you gave that super chat. So Thomas Wicker.
Super chat.
That was close. Thomas Wicker says, do you have any resources on how I can use Google Images labeled for use, other websites or blog articles or other video clips in my videos, and how to credit those to avoid copyright issues? So the best thing that you can do is just use paid services, because with paid services, you don't have to like worry about that sort of thing. Sometimes you'll run into issues, but with the paid services, you actually you get licenses with them. So if let's say that you're using something like Pexels, great resource. However, with that resource, you don't really get like a license with it. You just have like their website, right? So because of that, if you did have a problem there where somebody claims something, then in that situation, you'd have to like go to the website, and it becomes a much bigger ordeal. So what you want to do, in my opinion, is that you should just use stuff that you either create yourself or stuff that you pay for. So anything that's used in my videos, I get it from Video Blocks, which is also called like Story Blocks now, but I get it from them. It's a great site, tons of stuff in there, tons of like templates, things like that. I'll also use Mixkit now, and of course, some stuff I use from Placeit, but Placeit's paid, just like Video Story Blocks is, and Adobe Stock as well. Like even making presentations, stuff that people aren't going to see like in mass, like I'm not uploading them to YouTube, but because I'm using the images, I'll still pay for images off of Adobe Stock for the sake of making sure that even my presentations are safe. And I do that for the sake of the people that like if I'm doing a virtual summit, for example, or if I'm doing something like I have a YouTube summit that I'm doing on lighting. The whole presentation is going to be on lighting. You can find more information about this at socialmediaexaminer.com is the website. But basically, the whole presentation is just on lighting, like how to get your lighting to like an awesome level and how to make your videos look great. So like in that situation, any imagery that I use that I don't take myself, I'm going to make sure that that imagery is from like Adobe Stock or something else that I pay for, so that I can make sure that on their end, that content is also safe. So it protects me, and it also protects the people that I do those types of things with. So when it comes to that, I really recommend that you do the same if possible. Of course, on Google, you can use the stuff labeled for use and all that, but the issue is, let's say that I downloaded something, just for this example, let's say that I downloaded something from Adobe Stock. And then I ran it through Photoshop, and I scraped out all the MXIF data on it. And then I put my own data in there in terms of the metadata. And then I uploaded that to Google Images. And then within that, with that upload, I had on my website that I have, it wouldn't be uploaded to Google Images, but let's say on my website, I put that there, and then I have some type of meta tag in there that labels it for reuse. Well, guess what? It's not really for reuse, but I made it that way. So I could get in trouble for that, but you could also take the ripple on that to where you might get hit for it first. And then you're going to be like, well, hey, I got it from here and it's perfectly okay to use because da, da, da. But then, the copyright holder is not going to care, right? Because you don't actually, have the rights to use it. They don't care if you got it from somebody that also didn't have the rights to use it, right? That's one of those things that you got to be careful with also in terms of downloading stuff off of YouTube, because like there's a lot of like gamers and stuff and a lot of like graphics people that'll be like, hey, this is my 50,000 subscriber graphics package, but they'll literally steal stuff. Not everybody, some people will make stuff, but some people will literally, I've found people stealing stuff from Tuber Tools, my website, and they give stuff away for free even though they don't have the rights to use it. So that puts me in a position to where not only do I have to issue a takedown for them, but then anybody that I find that has, that it's like in the comment section, hey, this is great, thanks, I'll start clicking on them. right? Click on it. Okay, let's see, see how many of these people are using any of my stuff. And then that leads me to people that, that might be using my stuff as well. And then I have the option at that point in time to where I could strike them as well if I wanted to. So, you just have to be really, really mindful with what it is that you're doing, because you can get hit. Another thing, and this is really important. So, when you have other people give you things to use in your videos, some people will do this with content to where they'll say like, hey, send me a video, whatever. And this is why I don't do video reviews on these live streams. And people have been wanting me to do them forever, but I don't, for this reason. People can send you stuff. I've actually had this happen. I've had live streams where I've showed one live stream where I showed a clip of something, and it was like a promotional clip that was given to me. And in that promotional clip, they actually used a song. I thought that they had vetted everything and that they would be, that it was somebody that I knew. And I thought that it would be like a thing to where, it would be like no problem at all. Right. I'm like, this person, clearly it wouldn't be something that would ever be an issue. Right. And I played that on my live stream, and I had a copyright issue because of it. Now this was, it's been a while, but like I had this copyright issue because of it. And in that situation, it's like, this sucks, but it's something that it's my fault. It's not their fault. It's not YouTube's fault. It's my fault because I didn't actually vet it first, right? I didn't say, hey, is this all clear? Is this everything on here fine? And, is it okay to use and all that stuff? I didn't do that. And because of it, it's my fault. And I'm the one that had to pay the consequence for that, because I'm the one that made that mistake because I didn't vet the thing. So I recommend that, if you are using images from anywhere, that you just make sure that you're in the clear, make sure that anything that you're using, you can get a license for, or that you can clearly, reference the place that you got it, and you read through the terms of the place that you're using to make sure that you're using it in the right way. Because some places with like music, with graphics, with video clips, with images, some places you can, it looks like, hey, I can download this and I can use this freely in a video. But the thing you don't notice if you actually read through the license or their terms is that, you can use it, but if you're monetizing, then it becomes commercial use, and therefore you're not allowed to use it unless you pay them. So, you got to be really vigilant about that stuff, because it can come back to get you. Next up,
Super Chat.
Savvy Turtle, thanks for the super chat, says, hit the coffee music for ASMR Dream More.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
I needed that break for my throat. That worked out. So thank you for that. I hit that for me, but that was a good one. Okay, so next up, we also have
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Mr. Camera Junkie, welcome to the Nimminati. Welcome to the channel membership. Next time that you are on Facebook, look for Nimminati VIP. It's our members only Facebook group. It's where we have conversations about, YouTube and all the different problems people are having. And in some cases, people will ask me, specific questions, and I can help them, navigate through those questions as well. I don't look at channels there unless it's a live stream. In that case, I'll typically post and say, hey, I'm going to be live streaming, post links to your channel, all that. You want to participate in those. You want to post your links in those, because I do look at the channels in that situation, and then I give feedback based on, what I see on those channels. Sometimes I call people out specifically, but also make sure that you look in the community feed here on YouTube as well. There's a couple of videos in there. I actually recorded a ton of content. I got a GoPro so I can make videos on the go. So I've just got a bunch of chill content that I've recorded, just talking about a bunch of things that isn't really appropriate for the channel, but it's great for, for people that are trying to grow on YouTube. So it's not based around like audience retention and like, how do I keep people watching this for a longer period of time? It's like solid information. Like it's like a live stream, right? But it's just additional content. I've recorded a ton of it, but like the, also make sure that you, just check the community feed in general, as well. Okay. So next up we've got, let's see here. Susie Valentine. What's up? Nice to see you in here. Says, Cubing Jen says that, they do Rubik's Cube channel. The goal of the channel is I'm uploading videos that about Rubik's Cube because I want to help other slower Rubik solve faster. And the question is, could you tell a video editor for Android which is free and does not have a watermark and that does not crash? Android. You want to look for VLLO for Android. Official Gold Digger says, I've been waiting 3 hours. When will he get to my question? Have I been live for 3 hours already? Has it already been 3 whole hours? I don't think it has. I don't know how long I've been live. It has been 3 hours. You are correct. It has been 3 hours. I stand corrected. Angie Atkinson, what is up? Nice to see you here. I hope that you are doing fantastic. I'm sure that with the type of content that you make, I'm sure you're probably getting all kinds of, or not getting, but you're probably giving all types of value through a lot of people that are, dealing with some stuff right now, being, in close quarters with people and, all that stuff for long periods of time. So Angie has a channel. I just want to bring some attention to Angie here really quick. Angie has a channel where she helps people that have to deal with like narcissistic people, and tons of great value over there. So if you are dealing with anything like that, she's an amazing resource for that type of content. So definitely make sure that you head over and you check out her channel. Let's see here. So next up on our list, did I answer that last one? Yeah, I did. That was about the app. Is hey, it's Okami, and really quick.
Super Chat.
John Pullum says, hey, when is your YouTube course beta being released? My credit card is ready. Operators are standing by. Order now, but wait, there's more. So to be honest, I could have put it out already, but I'm just giving just a little bit more time on it because I'm just adding a little bit more. YouTube actually they just put out some information where they're taking away series playlists and some other things. So I actually have to update that, and then I'll be good to go. So probably this coming week, probably at the end of it, is kind of is probably what I'm going to do. But we'll see. Either this week or next week should be the go time. It's been long enough, and I know. But yeah, probably this week or next week. Roberto Blake says, the thing is when you're getting it for free and you're the one asking, purchase or just be glad that you had the opportunity. At all is appropriate. Faux show. All right. So next up we have. Let's see here. Hey, it's Okami. Hey, Okami says that it's an entertainment and education channel. And with the entertainment and education channel, the question is, should you try making videos that will get views from search or recommended? Yes. So when it comes to the views that you're getting on YouTube, it's important. Of course, depending on the type of content you make, tons of value in search-based content, tons of value in just the YouTube's recommendation features. And the win is, even though you might be making something for search, it can still get recommended. Right? Boom. There's like an extra win. But you can also, design your titles and thumbnails, that outside package in a way to where it's a good fit for, both, to where you're kind of double dipping in that situation. So targeting one or the other is great based on what it is that you're trying to do with your channel. So for example, if you're trying to generate revenue, if you're trying to generate ad revenue, then in that case, as many views as humanly possible is a win. But if you're like, hey, I'm trying to make some affiliate videos, or I'm trying to make some videos to bring attention to a particular thing, then, you can make some search optimized videos that will drive you income and traffic for a long period of time, just because they're ranked in search and they're right in between a buying decision. You can also do that for, products. You can do that for services. You can do that for all kinds of amazing things. Now, when it comes to should you do one or the other, I recommend you do both. Do all the things. Have traffic coming in from every direction. And the reason for that is because, sometimes you'll get a lot of suggested traffic from a particular video or a handful of particular videos. And then, somebody will come along and bump you out of those spots. But you know what? You might still be able to pull in tons of search traffic. In addition to that, as long as your content is appropriate for search, I kept looking over here, but as long as your content's appropriate for search, then in that situation, then you not only are tapping into YouTube search, but you're also tapping into Google search, Yahoo search, Bing search, DuckDuckGo search, all the other search engines as well. So, thinking of your content, this is all part of content strategy. But basically like part of your approach should be, for my type of content, one, how do people find it? Right? That's a really important part. How do people typically find the type of content that I have? What can I see in terms of strategy wise for the channels that are doing well? What is it that they're doing in terms of what does it appear from the outside that they're doing to get traffic? And then you also want to think, okay, Some of my content is going to be made for the sake of search, for the sake of being able to tap into that and seeing how my videos perform there. And they could perform great there or not. And then some of my content is also going to be made just for the sake of, trying to get people to respond and developing that skill of getting people to respond when they see my content, on home pages and things like that. But with all of that said, it's important to make sure that somewhere in your content, if you're doing entertainment content, this isn't really, because entertainment content, like there's not a way that I can think of to search for, getting hit with, 500,000 water balloons from a cannon. Right. Like there's not like a search way to do that. Right. That I can think of. Roberto probably can, but I can't think of a way to package that one for search. But when it comes to like a video like that, you would title that one like what it is. Right. So that one would be more of like something that would end up on home pages, suggested, getting shared all over the place, like that kind of thing. But like if you're doing a type of content to where there's like a specific value that you can lean into that people are getting, and then you can, optimize some or all of your videos for search, then in that particular situation, you're giving yourself that opportunity to have that as part of or all of part of your content strategy, to where you're pulling in a lot of traffic from search. But then I would still, no matter what, I would still do Hail Marys in terms of, this isn't necessarily recommended for search, but I'm still making sure to add like a particular keyword or keyword phrase within my title. Even though I'm not necessarily targeting search, it can still show up there. But what I'm thinking about is the response that people will have to it when it just shows up on their homepage. I'm not thinking about, okay, this just has to match what people are looking for in search plus have a compelling element. I'm thinking about, how can this be so intriguing that people will want to click on it no matter where it is that they see it. Even if somebody shares it on Facebook, people are going to want to click on it because it's so intriguing. If it shows up on a homepage, for the people that I'm trying to reach, this is intriguing for them, so they'll click on this. If it gets suggested next to another video, this is intriguing, I'll click on this, right? So because of that, just think I should be targeting, for your type of content, gaming content, entertainment, and education. I would definitely just to make it specific to you. That whole thing that I just went through is for everybody, but to make it specific to you for gaming content, I would without question target search with gaming, but I would also target search, but make sure that you're being extremely compelling so that you're targeting specific search phrases and keywords, but you're also looking at your title and your thumbnail and you're thinking like, okay, if this does happen to somebody on YouTube in terms of it shows up on a homepage, what is it about this that would be super compelling and make people want to click on this and come in and watch this video?
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So next question that we have here in the list is from, drumroll, Football Realm HD. Football Realm HD says that the goal of the channel is to have 1 million subscribers as a sports channel. The question is, I'm having problems with my all-time views. Whenever I get 2,000, then it will reverse back to 1,600 and 1,800. And I've been trying to get the solution, but I can't. Can you please help me if you know the problem? Okay. I put out a whole podcast episode about this. And the whole podcast episode, this is on my, I think it was the last one that I did. And everybody here should, if you don't listen to the podcast, that's fine. But I think that everybody here should listen to that episode. And the reason I think you should listen to that episode is because it addresses something that is sort of like an epidemic when it comes to YouTube and when it comes to doing anything online, really, or really anything when it comes to doing anything. So a lot of content creators. Okay, first let me say that by taking note that your real-time views went from 2,000 down to 1,600 or 1,800, being mindful that that's happening is one thing, but being concerned about it is another thing. So if you notice that's happening over and over and over and over and over again with all your content, there seems to be a bug of some kind. Then in that case, just go to Twitter, do @TeamYouTube, @YTCreators, let them know the issue and move on. Right? Move on, keep uploading content, keep focusing on the things that matter. The whole podcast episode was about focusing on the right things. Because, and I think I've mentioned this in videos too, but the thing is that your Yeah, Heidi, the coffee one, comments over coffee. There's a link down in the description. But basically, the thing is a lot of content creators are focusing on the wrong things. Like there'll be people they'll post in like Video Makers or Marketers, or they'll on Facebook, or they'll post in Tube Ritual on Facebook, or they'll post on Reddit, or they'll post in the members only group. Even like this happens with some of the channel members too. But basically, people will go in with these things that are completely outside of your control. It'll be things like views seem to be getting taken away, or, hey, I'm getting, X amount of subscribers, but then, I have like 4 subscribers less, or things like on my YouTube Studio app, it says that I have this many subscribers. When I log in on a computer, it says that I have this many subscribers. And then from the outside, when I look in the YouTube app, it says that I have this many subscribers. It's not matching up what's going on. And they'll focus their energy on those things when they're completely outside of their control. So what you should do in this situation is, instead of getting lost in those sorts of things, just think, okay, I've noticed this, so I'm just going to take a quick note of it. And if I keep seeing a problem, then it might be a bug of some kind. So then I might report it to YouTube. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on. I'm just going to report it real quick, and then I'm going to move on, so that I can focus on the things that are going to help me, get results from my channel, help me add more value to my community, help me do more of what it is that I'm doing, with my content and what it is that I'm doing on YouTube. So instead of focusing on like the things that I have this like small, difference in numbers, based on where it is that I log in, or I have this small difference in numbers based on what it was yesterday and what it is today. Instead of focusing on those things, focus on the things that will actually move the needle for you, the things that will actually matter. Because if you can do that, then your gains are going to be much better, and they're going to be much faster than getting caught up in these things that are going to slow you down. Because with everything that we do, energy is exerted. Right? So if you're exerting that energy on things that are out of your control, like, different things in the YouTube app, for example, then what you're doing is you're taking away from energy that you can apply to learning how to make better thumbnails, or that you can apply to that video that you're getting ready to record, right? To where you make it a much better video because you're more enthused about it, because you didn't just get brought down by what's happening, with the difference in the subscriber view count. So in your particular case, what I recommend that you do, let's see here, Football Realm HD, is just don't worry about it. If you're wanting to get 1 million subscribers, that isn't going to matter to you, right? If you're wanting to get 1 million subscribers on YouTube, that minor discrepancy of 400 views or 200 views, it's not going to matter. The thing that's going to matter is people responding to your content at an extremely high rate. That's what's going to matter. That's what's going to move the needle for you, not a 200 or 400 view discrepancy on YouTube. So in terms of the reasoning for it, the thing that happens there, like if you see views come in, but then you see them get taken down, is that YouTube verifies the views. So what that means is, if you have, let's say, 10 YouTube channels that you've created, and you go in and you're like, hey, I'm going to watch the video on all these different YouTube channels. Well, as soon as YouTube identifies that all those channels are connected, there's a really good chance they're going to go through and they're going to delete the view counts for those particular videos. If you have fans that are like, hey, I'm going to do this creator a solid, and I'm going to go and I'm going to watch their video from 10 different accounts. Same exact thing applies. YouTube's going to identify that, and then they're going to remove some of the views. Now, same exact thing happens to bot accounts on YouTube. So right now, just like for a really long time, you'll notice, I'll give an example. So there's this company that's spamming my comments right now, and I've had to block them. In my comment section. I had to put them in my banned words list, some of the things that they're saying to trigger it. But basically, there's a company spamming my comments right now. And they're spamming them. They were spamming anyway until I caught them, but they're spamming in a brutal way, like 50 comments a day or more. So basically, every single time their bot comes into my video to leave a comment, that counts as a view. So what's going to happen is, as soon as YouTube identifies that these bots are going around, because it's a bunch of different accounts, but they're saying the same thing, as soon as YouTube identifies that, then YouTube is going to delete their accounts. And once they delete their accounts, then that's going to delete any of those view counts as well, because they're associated with the bot accounts. So, those are the types of things that causes those discrepancies in numbers. It's not that you're doing anything wrong or anything's broken. And if things are broken on YouTube, they'll typically let you know inside of your creator studio. But when things are broken on YouTube, then that's when you want to make sure that you're following Team YouTube on Twitter, so that you can be aware when they, report things like that. But just focus on the things that are the most important, that'll help you move the needle, because the more that you get caught down here, the harder it's going to be to get up here. Okay. So you want to look at things like that as like they're the chains on your ankles that are keeping you from moving up. right? It's good to pay attention. It's good to notice that they're happening. Like that's a win. But in terms of focusing on them, you're just putting chains on your ankles and you're making it harder for yourself to grow when you're focusing on things like that. Shiny Finder
Super chat.
says that, so I didn't know how to make my videos marked for kids and adults. The fear was getting to me about COPPA, so I deleted my videos. Yeah, all you have to do is on your page for each one of those, for every single video that you have, if you just go into the video options for that video, then you're going to see the option to make it for kids or not. And the decision is really easy. If you make your content for kids, then you mark it for kids. If you make your content and you are not targeting kids with your content, then it's not for kids. So that's how you make that distinction. It's for them or it's not for them, and is it for them or if it's not for them. And also little things too, like if you have kids in your videos, well, in that case, then you also need to mark it for kids. So it's good that you took action on it, but you probably went overboard based on, like I haven't looked at your channel, but you probably went overboard when you could have just marked it one way or the other. Next, we've got Donut Dude. Love that name. Donut Dude makes me want to eat a donut. I just want to put that on the record. But Donut Dude says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to entertain and help people get better. Says, what can I do to get noticed on YouTube? Titles, thumbnails, content. Titles, thumbnails, content. If you make good thumbnails and titles, and by good, I just mean that you make it clear what it is that they're going to get in the video or what it is that your video is about, and that it's for a particular person, then what that does is that gives you the opportunity that when they see it, they identify that it's something that they're interested in and is for them, and then they can click on it and come in and watch it. In terms of the video content, if people do click on it and watch it, if you get that first step out of the way, then that second step of getting them to watch and further engage in your content, that comes down to, how they respond to what it is that you're doing. So if you can get them to click, and then you can also get them to watch your content, then YouTube is going to start showing your videos to more people that they think would be a good candidate to watch your content based on the people that are responding to it positively now. Next on the list. Okay, next up, we've got Infamous J. What's up, Infamous J? And it's a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is I'm doing it just for fun. And the question is, how can I get more people to stay on my videos to get more... Wow. That was like a thunder. I might have even had a flash behind me. Holy moly. I don't know if you heard this. If this just goes offline, yeah, there's a storm happening right now. Man, that was loud. Woo. I don't know if you heard that or not. Did you hear that? Give me a hashtag yes if you heard that, or hashtag no. There's like a massive thunder and lightning out there. I don't know if lightning, but typically that kind of thunder comes with lightning. But in terms of getting people to stay on your videos to get more watch time. So when it comes to people staying on your videos to watch more watch time, or so that you can get more watch time, yeah, if you heard that, yeah, it was super loud. In order to get people to stay on your videos, what is typically a good practice is that when your video first opens up, you confirm what it is that they actually clicked on the video for. So that lets them know that it's not clickbait, and it also kind of builds in the expectation of what they can expect from your video. So that's known as a hook typically, or depending on the type of content that you make, that could just be a teaser of some kind. And with that, the idea is simply just to confirm what it is they came for, but also to take that moment to also grab their attention and to re-engage them after they've already clicked on what it is that they've seen from the outside. So once you get them hooked, then from that point, you have to actually pull them into the content itself. So of course, this is going to vary in a bunch of different ways based on the type of content that you make. But the idea is simply to either start giving them the actual content that you promised right out of the gate, or start the story that's going to lead them into the content that they expected. And then you just do that over and over again, and you use your audience retention reports to fine tune how people are responding to what it is that you are doing. So if you notice, when I do this in videos, people watch, they'll watch for an extra 30 seconds, but when I do this in videos, people seem to leave. Then as an example, if I'm using a bunch of graphics, people leave. If I'm on screen more, people will stay. Or if I'm on screen more, people tend to leave. If I'm on screen less, people seem to stick around. If I mix it up comfortably, then in that situation, people seem to stick around or leave based on your content. So you start identifying those things over time, and then you can start modifying your content to serve how people are responding to the content that you're putting out. Now, in addition to that, you also want to make sure that you're not prematurely ending your videos. And what I mean by that is, at the very end of your videos, and this is like, people got to watch your videos in order to get there. So you got to get that, you got to get good at that part first. But when they hit the end of your video, or towards, they're approaching the end of your video, you never want to recap. You don't want to recap. You don't want to say, and that's how you XYZ, or, and that's what I think about XYZ, or, and that's why you should XYZ. What you want to do is you want to drop your end screen on them before you say any of that stuff, so that you have somewhere they can go. Because if you start telling them or helping them identify that the video is complete, then the problem that you're going to have is people are going to go ahead and start leaving, because their brain is going to say, oh, okay, well, this video is done. So now I'm going to start looking for something else to watch. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down and click on something else. But if you just drop an end screen on them, then they have your content right there on screen that they can possibly click into and watch. So the hard part is getting people through your content. And here's the thing, look, I have videos on my channel, right? Like my channel does well. I get, a decent amount of views for the type of content that I make, in my space, and you can just look at my videos compared to other videos in the space, and you'll see what I mean. But like, on my videos, like some of my videos, like I'll get a lot of impressions on them. But some of my videos, like I'll have, like, let's say that I have like a 10-minute video. Like, some of my 10-minute videos, I'll have, like a 60% audience retention. Some of my 10-minute videos, I'll have like a 40% audience retention, because I just don't nail it, right? I don't nail it, or maybe I just didn't, I might have made the video, maybe I had like low energy, kind of like today during this live stream, right? My energy is kind of low today. I didn't sleep great last night, or I didn't sleep a lot, I should say, last night. Stayed up watching Netflix. I don't know if any of you have seen OA, but I'm like, the OA, I think it's called. Man, I'm hooked on that. But anyway, like I was watching that last night, kept me up until like 5 something in the morning, and then I went to sleep. Then my girlfriend woke up early this morning. So then I had to get up early this morning as well, just because, I woke up. So basically I didn't sleep that great, so my energy is low. Sometimes that translates into videos as well. So I'm either not saying things in a way engaging enough to where I get a little bit more monotone in sections, where I noticed I've been doing that in the stream as well, like right now. Or I'm just not applying all of the stuff that I would normally do to a video, and that, my retention suffers, right? So because of that, what you got to do is you have to, oh, okay. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate that. I'll refresh the page. But what you have to do in that situation is you just have to, over time, figure out what's acceptable for YouTube to continue to show your content to more people. And then once you figure out what's acceptable, then you have to, with every video, just try. Sometimes you're going to nail it. Sometimes you're not. But you got to try to just keep exceeding what that acceptable level is, because the higher you get past that acceptable level, then the better your videos are going to do, right? But they don't have to be perfect. Okay, so Storm Ranger.
Superchat.
Storm Ranger says, I've been having issues with viewers clicking off my videos quickly, with 30% clicking off in the first 15 to 20 seconds, regardless of how I started. Okay, so in that particular case, I just want you to know that it's typical to have like some kind of drop in the beginning, but of course, grabbing their attention in some way is really important. You say regardless of how you started, but I'm not sure like all the experimentation that you've done with grabbing their attention in different ways. So I'm not sure if you're on video or not, but a couple things just to consider or to try if you haven't yet is, one, as soon as the video starts, experiment with saying something that's going to grab their attention. Experiment with not saying something and just showing B-roll if you're typically on video. If you're typically showing yourself, try not showing yourself and not saying anything, but just showing some B-roll and some music. If you typically show B-roll and some music, try showing yourself and saying something. Try showing B-roll with saying something. Let's see here. If you are, let's see here, we got you on camera, we got you off camera. Try doing some fun things. Like as you're saying something when the video first starts, try just having some text pop up that's, that's goes right in line with what it is that you're saying. Let's see here. What else? What else has worked well? Yeah. Also, another thing that can hurt your retention as well, just to go ahead and say it, another thing that can hurt your retention also is if your thumbnail and your title, your thumbnail and your title develop or create, I should say, an expectation for when somebody clicks on that. So if somebody clicks on your thumbnail and title expecting one thing, and they don't seem to be getting that right away, then that can cause people to leave. So in some cases, a video might be okay. And you'll actually notice this when you start experimenting with like updating thumbnails and titles and things like that. You'll see it in your retention. TubeBuddy, actually, like when you do your A/B test inside of TubeBuddy for your thumbnails, one thing they show you is how much watch time you're generating per impression per thumbnail. And the reason for that is because the expectation that gets built on the way into your video. So the problem could be how you're grabbing their attention, but it could also be how you're packaging it up from the outside. So if your thumbnail and title are getting people to expect one thing and they click on the video and it's not really matching what it is that they're thinking, they're going to bounce. But if it does match, if it's a good match for what it is that they're thinking, then they might stick around. So in addition to experimenting with your video content, Storm Ranger, also think about how you're packaging things from the outside and how people might be expecting one thing, but not necessarily be feeling like they get that when they actually click on the video. That might help bring that up a little bit, but it's typical for, some type of drop to happen. But like in some cases, if you're really good at grabbing people's attention, you can stop that pretty quick. But that expectation is a really important part of it. And sometimes you'll see, like I was saying a second ago, that if you change your thumbnail and title, that you'll see that your audience retention gets hurt because of it, or that your audience retention gets helped because of it. And the funny thing about that is, sometimes you might think, oh, well, it's just my video. My video must not be great. Or they might not be enjoying the video, but it could just come down to the expectation that you're building before they actually even click on your video in the first place. So in addition to experimenting with what it is that you're doing to hook them, I would also experiment with how you're packaging your content up in that expectation that you're building as well. Shiny Finder
Super chat
says, so I didn't know how to make my videos. Marked for kids. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got that one already. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Next one. Lori McGraw says, on my education-based channel, I'm asking for comments, but I'm still not getting engagement. How do I get people to comment on my videos? So, Lori, I'm not sure if you're just asking for comments or if you're leading people into your comments. So one of the things that, hey, no problem, Storm Ranger. Yeah, and just experiment with that stuff. And one more thing really quick, let me hop back on Storm Ranger really quick. One thing to just think about is, and everybody should think about this, is when you are putting your content together in terms of your title, your thumbnail, the topic that you're going to be making your video about, and the actual content, it's really important to just think about how people are going to experience it. Because as content creators, we're like, hey, I'm making this video. This is going to be a really cool video. And then I got to make sure I have like a really good title and thumbnail for it. But what is really important to make sure that you're doing as well is just thinking about the experience that people are going to have as they're going through the flow of your content. Starting with my video shows up on a homepage. What could somebody possibly imagine that they would receive from clicking on this video? What could somebody possibly imagine or think about that they might get in this video content? And then from there, think about, okay, if somebody were to think that, if they were to click on the video and start watching it, how quick would it be for them to identify that they are getting what they expected, or they're not getting what they expected, right? And then you just want to take that thought process through the entire experience, even leading people down into comments, which I'm going to talk about right now. So, Lori, I'm not sure if you are just asking, hey, leave a comment. If you enjoy the video, leave a comment, or if you're leading people into it. So one thing that can help increase your engagement in terms of the amount of comments that you're getting, the amount of likes that you're getting, and things like that, is to lead people into your comments. And what I mean by that is, instead of just saying leave a comment, what you do when you do that is you create additional energy that people have to put out in order to leave the comment. Because in addition to going down and just leaving a comment, they got to come up with something to comment about. So that thing could be, it could be the video itself. It could be anything, any random thing, but they have to go through that process mentally of, okay, yeah, I'm going to leave a comment because I love this content creator. I'm going to leave a comment because they asked me to, but what am I going to leave a comment about? What am I going to say? And what you want to think about in that situation is you want to think about how uncomfortable it is for a lot of people to just walk into a room or walk up to somebody and just start talking to somebody, because you got to think of something to say, right? Same exact thing goes with a comment. But if you lead people into the comments and you're like, okay, if you're not getting a lot now, experiment with asking a question that somebody can answer in the comments, right? So as an example, you'll hear me through these live streams. I'll say, hey, if you're a new content creator, give me a hashtag new. If you've seen this, then, let me know in the comments, like that kind of stuff. Or leave a hashtag, whatever. And the idea behind that is because I'm helping to lead that feedback by just making it to where people can just ask, or to where you can just answer the question instead of having to try to come up with something to talk about. So what you want to experiment with is, what is it that I can do within my content? What kind of questions can I ask that would lead people into leaving meaningful? And by meaningful, I don't mean like yes or no. I mean like to where you can lead people into leaving like a sentence of a comment down in your comment section, and just try to think like, what kind of questions can I ask, and what kind of direction can I give people to where all they have to do is go down into my comment section and answer the question that I asked. Then if you do that, then you'll see, you can experiment with it yourself, but you'll see if you take that approach, you'll start getting more comments, and not just more comments, you'll start getting more meaningful comments if you start asking more, meaningful questions, right? So what you want to do is you just want to think, okay, in this video, as I'm putting this video together, as I'm kind of outlining what is it I'm going to talk about or do, what can I do? So let's put that into real life. Okay, so let's say that you are a gamer, and I know you're not, but let's say that you are, and I'll get into different types of content here in a second, but let's say that you're a gamer. One of the things that you can do is you can just simply say, hey, if you've ever beaten this level before, let me know how long it took you down in the comments. Or that would be a shorter comment, but you could also say, let me know the tactic that you use to get around this particular thing in the game, in the comments. And then you'll have people go down there, and you'll have people, literally write out, some people write out, a sentence, and they'll be snarky. Oh, all I did was beat it. And then you'll have other people that'll write out this long thing of this entire process that they went through in order to beat it. Same exact thing goes to like review content. Hey, if you've ever had something like this before, let me know down in the comments. Or if it's even your first time, and you're considering getting this thing, if you had it before, let me know your experience. And if you're considering getting this thing for the first time, like for example, if it's your first iPhone, let me know down in the comments. But if you've had an iPhone before, let me know like what your favorite thing is about the iPhone and why other people should get an iPhone, right? Let me know down in the comments. And what you're doing in that situation is you're opening up that space to where all people have to do is go down and just say, yes, it's my first one. Or say, well, the thing that I really like about the iPhone is just how well it integrates with the ecosystem and blah, blah, blah. And then they can, give like full input. If you're a vlogger, hey, if you were here right now, we're considering going into this, to this place over here. We're considering going to this art museum and, taking a tour of this art museum, but we're a little bit tight on time. So we probably are, but like in this situation, what would you do? Would you spend this, 10 minutes or this 30 minutes or this hour to go to this art museum? Or would you spend it, going down to the river and, hanging out by the river and maybe having some lunch instead? Like, let me know down in the comments, what you would do. I think right now we're going to go in here, but then after we might even go down there, but let me know what you would do in this situation. Just open it up and just ask people questions that they can answer. That's a part of sales too, is like when you're selling stuff, good sales really comes down to just asking good questions, because then you start to identify, what it is about the person that you're selling to. You start to identify the things that they, care about or don't care about through the questions that you ask. And with comments, when you start opening things like that up, then it gives people that opportunity to say what it is that they want, which also lets you get a lot more insights into your community. So when you are doing that sort of thing, you want to be strategic about it if you can. If you're just like, hey, I just want to get more comments on this video, then you can be, you can just do that. But if you want to like really get insights into things that your community cares about so that you can create even more engagement in the future, then in that case, try to think it through and think like, okay, the people that are watching my videos, what kind of things, what kind of questions could I ask to really get to know my community as a whole? Because the better you understand them, the better you're going to be able to make content for them, and the better you're going to be able to get them to engage in the future as well, and the better you're going to be able to just serve them in general. So, hopefully that answers your question. And then I think, okay, next one we have here is from
Super Chat.
Next one we have here is from Nairi Squires. Nairi Squires, it's an adoption channel. Says, let's see here. Thank you. Hit 100 subs. High five and fist bump to you. Says, let's see here. American audience growing, but not in the UK. Stick with pleasing both in content or niche down further. Here's the thing. YouTube's global. So because of that, I would just serve like if one country picks you up more than the other, lean into it, right? I wouldn't try to alienate one country for the sake of trying to, step into another one. If you have some viewers from here, some viewers from here, embrace it. Instead of saying, okay, well, I have more US based viewers, but American audience growing, but in the UK. Yeah, I think you're in the UK maybe, but your American audience is growing. If Americans are responding to your content, it's fine. right? There's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that you should lean into it and just, please both. I'm not sure specifically what it is that you do. I mean, I know it's an adoption channel, but I don't know, like with the adoption, if you're showing people how to adopt specifically in the UK. In that case, depending on your goals of the channel, you might need to modify things to make sure that you are driving the adoptions, if that's what you're trying to do, that you're driving the adoptions. But here's the thing. If people in the US are responding to your content and people are in the UK are responding to your content, just because you have more in the US responding because they think it's interesting or they, enjoy the topic or they like how you communicate, doesn't mean that you're not still going to be able to get the result that you're after in terms of generating more adoptions through people in the UK. Right. So just because you have more in the other doesn't mean that you are not serving the other one. So because of that, I wouldn't even worry about it personally right now. If it becomes to where it's like you're having no UK viewership, then in that case, you might want to adjust things. But if you are just because you have more in one doesn't mean that you don't have any in the other. Right. That can help you serve your cause. Angie Atkinson.
Super chat.
Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So the Maker IE says, love the revised studio setup and the second channel. Still working on it. Still work in progress. So I dig this thing also. Like, this is really cool. I've been wanting one of these for a really long time. Dee and I talked about getting one of these, but they're really hard to find here in Thailand. So because of that, it's been a while. So I finally found one. So I was like, oh yes, finally, I don't have to import one for ridiculous prices. I can just buy one locally for a ridiculous price instead, because they charge import tax for everything here. And it's ridiculous, the amount they charge for import tax. But anyway, yeah, thanks. I'm glad that you enjoy it. I'm glad that you think it's cool. I think it's cool too. I'm going to continue to build onto it. So basically for this whole thing, I got the slider, and then I got the ATEM Mini that allows me to switch back and forth between the cameras. The other camera, this one, is also a part of it as well. But let me actually click here and see if that's in there. Oh, I think I just closed it. Yeah. So like here, if I switch to this, then you'll see that setup is here as well. So like technically, I can also just come over to here and do it this way as well. So if I want to come over to here because, maybe I feel more comfortable here for the moment, then in that case, then I can come over here and, hang out here in the typical situation, right? Because this is the typical version that I do on the stream. I can just hang out here, and I can also, click directly inside of Streamlabs and stuff from over here. But with this, there's my podcast, by the way. But with this, I tried to install the app for the Streamlabs remote so that I could do this from over there in terms of switching Streamlabs, but unfortunately, it just wouldn't connect. So because of that, I ended up, having to not do any of this stuff here during the stream, but it's okay, not a big deal. But yeah, I'm totally digging the thing as well. And we got some love on the Stormtrooper helmet, which I'll go ahead and go full screen for that one. Back here, you got the Stormtrooper helmet back there, got the play button over there as well, with a little bit of extra shine on them also. So yeah, glad that you dig the setup. Another thing as well is here, when I'm here, I've got all these sound effects at my disposal for this stuff, right? Little, things like that, crickets, cheers, bombs, that whole thing. And then I've got like a whole other sound panel with like, songs and stuff like that. But at this point in time, we are just rolling. At this point in time, we're just rolling with this, and we're going back over to here. All right. All right. So let's see here. So one more here says Wes. Oh, sorry about that. Wes Creasel Photo
Super chat
says, how do you find your videos with best retention? Let's say the top 3 to 5 to analyze. So go into your YouTube analytics. Oh, sorry. There we go. Go into your YouTube analytics. And once you are in your YouTube analytics, go into your, click on the see more. You're going to see a blue see more. Click on that. That's going to take you into advanced. You can also click at the top of the screen. You'll see your advanced mode there. And then from there, you will see your videos listed down at the bottom. And then you'll see your retention there, the actual retention. And you can actually click there, and you can actually sort it by the retention of the video. So if you're going for like the percentage, for example, then you can click on that. Now, I think the default doesn't show the percent. So you'll have to click on that blue plus icon to actually add the metric for the actual percentage, but it does show you your watch time. So you can definitely click on that there. So in terms of like the top 3 to 5 to analyze, like I would try to pull out 10 if you can. Another thing that you can do as well, if you have certain content that you're trying to dig into, and to figure out which ones are performing better, since, and I'm saying this because you're wanting to analyze stuff, but if you have content that you're trying to decide, like, hey, which ones are better, and then you try to figure out why, you can also do that as a content set. So since you're doing photos, it seems like you can have some to where, like, if you're talking about cameras, that would be like one group that you would create in analytics. Then the other group would be one would be cameras, the other one would be like technique, to where you're showing people like how to do specific things. And then you can start seeing with those, like as a content type as a whole, which ones are people watching a larger percentage of, which ones are people clicking on more, and things like that as well. So you can group them together by content type in the groups, or you can just go in and sort by the retention as well. Let's see here.
Super chat.
Avatariska123 says, hello, just started a gaming channel. It's in English language, but I'm speaking with an accent. Is this causing a problem with views? No. So of course, some people, because there's so much content on YouTube, some people are going to just say, I'm not going to watch this. I'm just going to go watch somebody that I can easily understand. Some people are going to do that, right? That's the reality. But some people are going to be like, hey, I don't care. I just want to watch this person play the game. So I wouldn't say that it's like that it's like killing your channel. But, some people are going to be like, I'll just go watch something else where I can, more easily understand. But some people also find a novelty. I know, like, there's channels where people, have strong accents, but people absolutely love them. So I wouldn't look at it as a limitation. I would just look at it as, just be mindful of it and just be real about it, which I think you are. That's why you asked that question. But just be mindful that could be a thing, and and don't worry about it. In terms of it, seeing it as a limitation. That's what I mean. And especially if you're trying to work on your English and all of that. If you are, then in that situation, then just embrace it, and just, people will be able to see that journey, and people respond better and better as time goes. Next in is Dare and Discover. Dare and Discover says, hey Nick, what lens are you using on your Sony? It looks crystal clear. First, I just want to say that I'm like thrilled that it looks crystal clear, because one of the problems that I have with the live streams is that I'm just not a fan of how they look, right? Like the content's great, and for the clips, and it really started like becoming important to me on the clips, because I have somebody right now going through like all the different live streams, and they're pulling out different clips so I can have a different channel for bite-sized information out of the streams. And I was like, I got to do these better. So I got to start leveling things up. But this is the Sony A6500 with the 16 millimeter Sigma 1.4 lens on it. And this camera over here, this is also a A6500 as well. Both of them are A6500s, and both of them, I love this lens so much that both of these cameras have the Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4, and I love it so much that this 6500 also has a Sigma 16 millimeter. Oops, sorry. There we go. That this Sigma A6500 also has the Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4, and this 6500, it has this lens on it too, but there's also a Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 for this one as well. That's how much this lens is loved around here. All right. So on that note, we are rolling up hold on really quick.
Super chat.
J3B says, hey man, how's it going? Dude, it's going awesome. Thanks for stopping by. I hope that you are doing fantastic. Haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you hanging out here, but all is well. Missing D, he's in Mexico right now. So, kind of sucks that he's down there. Would love to have him, hanging out here, during this time and all that, but he's trapped down there. So that's kind of sucks. But besides that, everything else is awesome. So, Outside of that, no complaints, but yeah, wish D was here besides that, cause I know that you guys like seeing us, stream together and all that. But that'll happen soon, hopefully. But, I just want to say what's up, Dale Roberts in the house, self-publishing with Dale. What's up, dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic. Tana Stanley, what is up? Nice to see you here as well. But I just want to say, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you got some value out of the stream today. Again, if your question didn't get answered, just as a heads up, just know that, I keep track of all that stuff and it might show up in a video or as a video as well. So just thank you for putting your question in there. And even though it might not have gotten answered here in the stream, it might pop up as a video later. So I appreciate that. So thank you. And I also want to remind you that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy. If you don't have TubeBuddy installed yet, you can install it free through the link in the description below to see what it can do. But as a content creator, you'll want to upgrade. You'll want to make it part of your toolkit because it's an amazing tool. Will help you in a ton of different aspects for your YouTube channel. So make sure that you check it out down in the description below just so you can see what it does for you, right? So you can see how awesome it is. And again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out and participating and being a part of this. For everybody that was like, giving people, different ideas for, stuff and everything in the chat, thank you for also participating in that and adding, additional value to what it is that we're doing here. Thank you so much. And really quick, one last one here. Wolfpack Game says, Nick, almost 300 subs because of you. I also wanted to know how to grow my streams. Stream on a consistent basis. And add value to people through your streams, and you'll grow your streams. And by stream on a consistent basis, I mean same day, same time, either several times throughout the week or once a week, whatever, and just stick it out, right? And just keep trying to do better at grabbing people's attention and holding them during the stream, and keep trying to do better to adding value to the people that are watching your stream, because that will keep them coming back over and over and over again because they get something for coming back to the stream, right? So do that over and over and over again, and you'll be fine. But again, thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you for participating in the stream. Thank you for being a part of all of this stuff. I hope that you have an awesome week, and I will see you next Saturday. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. Have an awesome weekend.
Thanks for watching Nimmin Live, brought to you by TubeBuddy. Remember to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. Have a